Welcome back to the FPL deadline stream for Game Week 20. It's the last deadline stream of the year, and there's plenty more heading your way in 2024. But yeah, let's see if there's another reaction stream or stream before this year ends. If not, it will be in the early days of 2024. I appreciate everyone that supported the channel, all the subscribers. We hit 22,000 on Christmas Day. We hit many goals throughout the year, and also we're looking to push on towards new ones in the future. A big shout out also goes to the patrons, channel members, those that send in super chats. I do appreciate all of them very much. And speaking of which, thank you very much to Lipuk. We're going to read out yours right now. Just going to get it up here. So Lipuk says 2 free transfers, 0.2 million in the bank, thinking of Haaland to Watkins or Alvarez, and then next game week deal with Salah Son as Hwang, team below 27th in your league. Really impressive stuff there, Lipuk. Out of the two you mentioned, it still has to be Watkins for me. I know Alvarez has a plum fixture this week, but so does Watkins, and over the course of the season, Watkins has been far more consistent. I'd rather go for him over Julian Alvarez, but I have to say it's a difficult decision. I can understand why you're asking it, but it has to be Ollie Watkins for me, even though he's burned me many a time this year. So let's go through the messages that I've seen earlier as well. Venom says captaining Foden over the likes of Salah, Son, Watkins, Solanke. Please tell me it'll be a good decision. Look, I think there is a fine line between a good process, a good decision, and also the outcome, which can sometimes be based upon the decision being good, but sometimes it's simply down to luck. I think it's a good shout. Now, I personally prefer some of the options you mentioned, Salah, Son, and Watkins being three of them, but yeah, I still think Foden would be up there, easily in the top 10 captaincy options this week, and potentially in the top 5. And I think from the Man City players, it's probably between Foden and Alvarez for the best captaincy option this week. Thank you very much, Venom. Likewise to you. Happy New Year. Start Anderson or Gordon? Oof, that is a good question. I'm not expecting much from either, to be honest with you, but I think I'm going to have to go for Gordon there, just for the attacking potential. But even then, I'm not so sure about Newcastle on their travels. JP says, thoughts on selling Saka, Son, Salah to Bowen, Jota, Odegaard after this game week? Yeah, I'm looking at something similar. And look, Saka's been awful. And I even said it in my last team selection video. He's bordering on sell territory if he doesn't fix up. But I would keep him in that scenario and not take a -4 hit. But you can still do that Saka to Odegaard transfer, for example, if Saka doesn't fix up by the time, we get to game week 22. So I'd make 2 transfers for free in your situation, because also remember, in the case of Erling Haaland, if you don't have him already, and you might want him back in game week 21 or 22, that could incur a -8 hit with all the transfers you suggested. So what I would say is make 2 of them for free, and then you can always focus on selling Saka for free the week afterwards if he still doesn't improve. Bilal says, hello Dylan, do you think it's better to roll my 1 free transfer even if I have Cash and Lascelles in my team? Depends who's starting 11. If you're happy with it, then yeah, just roll with it. I've also got a similar situation. It's not ideal, but there is a chance that Cash starts. I mean, he's been awful anyway, so even if he does, you probably don't expect anything from him. Thank you, Cylindra. Likewise to you. Happy New Year. Should I sell Tavernier to Garnacho, Jota, Bowen, Elise, Foden? It's still Bowen for me. I know Brighton looks like a difficult game. They just won 4-2 against Tottenham. But Bowen got 12 points against them in the reverse fixture. He's fixture-proof, and he's been so consistent. He's by far the most consistent of any player you just mentioned. I do like the likes of Jota and Foden, and even Elise has been in good form, but it has to be Bowen all day long for me. VD says, Happy New Year. Likewise. Like Pep Guardiola says, of course. Bench 1, Trent, Estupinian, Cash, Saliba, Borra. Oof, yeah, Stupinian could get a start here with Igor Julio picking up a knock against Tottenham. West Ham away, though. I'd probably bench Stupinian, despite him scoring a world-class goal against them. Yeah, it has to be that. We've got a good question here about Tottenham, but we have covered this in the videos. JP says, are Basuma and Sarr off to the African Cup of Nations? Yes, they are. And the same goes for Son, of course, going off to the Asian Cup. So that's 3 key players for Spurs missing out. Mickey van der Ven is still injured. Romero's out for another month or so. They have a lot of injury problems at the moment. And of course, these unavailable players will only add to their woes. How will it affect Spurs, do you think? Will it hinder attack or the defence? I think it hinders all parties. But specifically, I think the biggest weakness for Spurs is the defence. And it's only going to get worse. They need to sign players in January. And I think they need 2 centre-backs, not even just 1, because they're playing Emerson Real and Davis as centre-backs, and typically they play as wing-backs or full-backs. And then you have dire. I mean, yeah, he's just simply not good enough. So, yeah, Spurs are going to be really, really hindered. And I think it's more of a defensive thing. They can still score plenty of goals, even without Son and Maddison and all these players they're missing out. But I think the defense is looking really grim at the moment. It's Watkins' birthday. You should captain him. Sorry, with the history I have with this guy, I don't trust him at all. But, you know, fair play. I mean, Watkins could be a good captaincy option this week. He's still my top 5, but I don't know. Maybe I'm being biased, you could argue, but I just don't trust him. Best City asset this game week, I'd say Foden. What do we think about Stupinian, thinking of bringing him in instead of Trippier and playing him ahead of Saliba? Yeah, look, Stupinian is a nice purchase. You're buying him for the bonus points and the attacking potential, similar to Pedro Porro. This week, I want to start him ahead of Saliba. I know Arsenal have been a bit, well, very underwhelming in the last couple of weeks, but I still think they have the best defence. And Saliba away to Fulham, I'd rather start him over Gusto and also Stupinian. And also bear in mind with Gusto, I know he was man of the match the other day, but there is also an odd chance he is benched and Chelsea play 4 centre-backs against Luton Town because there's a quick turnaround. Of course, with the way Gusto played, you'd argue that he shouldn't be dropped. But yeah, I personally would start Saliba of all 3 of them, but that's just my take. Dylan had plans to initially roll the transfer, but back-to-back red arrows with double Arsenal defence looking shabby makes me wonder if Archie Mabama to Alvarez is the move this week. Yeah, look, that is a good move on paper. It's an upgrade. The only issue with such a move is what it could mean for your future transfer plans and incurring hits. But for this week only, I think it looks like a great move. My sixth sense was to bring in Doughty and McNeil in. Fair play. Yeah, Doughty obviously got the goal. I'm not sure if you're bringing him now, by the way, but if you bought him in last week, fair play. Best City attacking asset to own for the long term. Foden for me once again, with no Son or Salah between game weeks 21 up until 25 potentially, and so many different midfield options still, to be fair, but I think Foden would be one of the standout replacements. Yeah, it is okay to captain Alvarez, but I wouldn't do it myself. That's just my take. I haven't been fully convinced by Alvarez. I think he's only got 1 double-digit return this season compared to the likes of Son and Salah with 6 each. Good morning, CJR. Karen says Haaland and Tsimikas for Alvarez and Trent, both free, or Gordon to Garnacho, Olise and Roll. Yeah, I think I'll do both free transfers. So Haaland and Tsimikas to Alvarez and Trent. But as I keep on saying, Solanke and Watkins are better options in the long term compared to Alvarez. Yeah, Bernardo could be a decent differential in game weeks like this, but long term, he's not someone I'd recommend. I think Gross looks better, Jarrod Bowen, Diogo Jota, Foden. I think they would all enter the equation before him. Also Odegaard, who's in good form. I currently have no Man City players. Would you transfer Solanke to Alvarez or Saka to Foden? Neither is my answer. If I had to pick one, it'd be Saka to Foden based on form. But Solanke to Alvarez, I mean, yeah, Tottenham away looks difficult, but look at the centre-back problems they have, all the injuries. I'd fancy Bournemouth to get some goals there and Solanke to be involved, so I wouldn't do that to Alvarez. Colwill to Gusto. It could backfire this week because of the reason I gave a minute or two ago, but Gusto is the better option longer term because of bonus points and the assist threat. So, yeah, I'd rather have Gusto. Areola, Trent, Gabriel, Porro, Walker, Hwang, Palmer, Salah, Son, Gordon, Solanke, subs, Dubravka, Kabore, Archer, Haaland. So just to refer back to the super chat, so you've got 2 free transfers and 0.2 million in the bank. So, yeah, I'm quite happy with the defensive line this week. I wouldn't really change that. Don't expect Areola to keep a clean sheet, as I've mentioned throughout the week. Your midfield is fine for now. Hwang is fit to play. He's available for selection. He was in training yesterday. Gordon would be the issue, I think, over the next 3. And, of course, Salah and Son would be sells in the coming weeks. So, ideally, you would roll the transfer, but with your situation still having Haaland, Gordon having poor fixtures, a weak bench overall based on the Haaland situation, I probably would look to make a move in the midfield, and I would maybe look at bringing in Foden for Anthony Gordon. You can always bring Gordon back for Salah or Son in a couple of weeks' time, but I think that's where my head would be at there, Lipuk. 4.7 million Aston Villa defence, starting 11. Well, in terms of who I expect to start, based on what Unai Emery said yesterday, I don't think Pau Torres will start. He isn't fully fit yet. But, yeah, I think if I had to guess, it'd be Alex Moreno on the left. Luca Dean is out for a little while. It would be, I mean, Matty Cash, I'm not so sure. I think it'll be Diego Carlos, Lenglet, and it will be Konsa. I think that would be the back 4. There is a chance of Cash starting, but I wouldn't bank on it. Triple captain Foden, let's go. I think you might have to prepare yourself for a bit of pain there, but good luck. Play 2 of Solanke, Konsa, and Palmer, says Zaid. Difficult one, but I'd play Solanke over Palmer, which might be an unpopular opinion based on the fixtures, but I'd rather have Solanke in the starting 11. Yeah, I think I'd go for the upside and go for Solanke and Palmer, but any single one of them can easily whore, to be quite honest with you. Start Darwin or Zinchenko. Fulham have not scored in 2 games. Yeah, but Arsenal have also been a bit of a weird team because their expected goals conceded is 14. Yeah, they've conceded 18 goals, and every single shot they, concede on target tends to be a goal. So, yeah, difficult one, but I'd probably start Darwin this week out of the 2. If Saka doesn't score tomorrow, we need to have some uncomfortable conversations about him. Well, in terms of FPL, I even said it in my last video, that'd be 5 blanks in a row, which is unheard of for Saka. I think he will deliver, but my patience is wearing thin. In terms of him as a player overall, I still think he's one of the best wingers in the league. Let's not forget that after a period of bad games. It's also a Arsenal issue. They're not converting enough of their chances, and some of them have been created by Saka, more so by Odegaard in the last couple of weeks, but Arsenal just aren't clicking in the attack. 10 goals between the 3 forwards, Jesus, Martinelli and Saka. I think it was almost double by this stage last season. Mabama for Alvarez or Kabore to Alex Moreno or Gusto could make bringing Haaland back easier next game week. My personal preference would be Kabore to Alex Moreno. Captain Bowen or Son. It would be Son out of those 2, but Bowen is a good shout. He got 12 points in the reverse fixture. He's definitely worth mentioning. Okay, look, you know what we want to do here? Of course, with this own video, we want to get this to over 100 likes and then push on from there as always, and also make more progress towards 23,000. I think over the last couple of days, we've gotten around 200 subscribers, so I do appreciate all the support, but I also want to shout out a channel which hasn't got anything to do with FPL, but there's more to life beyond this game. Believe me, there actually is. So let's go to this channel. It's a good friend of mine, AJDC. Let's help him reach his new goal. He's 22 subscribers away, and he's got great content on Disney, Marvel, entertainment in general. And I've actually been keeping up to news based on this channel, so I'd highly recommend it. It's no sponsor or anything. It's literally a good friend of mine who makes good content, so be sure to check it out and subscribe. There's also, if you go on my channel, there's a featured channels list, and he is right in there, so be sure to check it out. I promise you won't regret it. The videos are both informative and entertaining, and I have to say I watch pretty much every single one of those videos, so be sure to check it out and help him reach 500 subscribers, because it's a very underrated channel and deserves way more recognition, so be sure to do so. I'll put a link now in the live chat, and of course we'll get back to the FPL conversation, but I thought it's worth mentioning, and he definitely deserves to get to 500 subscribers by the end of the year, so be sure to do that. It'd be massively appreciated, and of course we can all just enjoy his content, so be sure to do that. And let's now go through some different screens. In terms of the FDR, Man City are top. And by the way, he's a Man City supporter. So maybe for those of you that do support Man City, that's another incentive for you to subscribe. Spurs, Fulham, Brighton, Luton Town are in the top 5 for the fixture difficulty rating over the next 6 game weeks. In terms of those at the bottom, though, Bournemouth, with Dominic Solanke there, of course, Burnley, Wolves, Brentford, and Chelsea in the bottom 5. Liverpool and Arsenal also quite low down in that list. In terms of predicted points, it's actually just updated to the next 4 game weeks. I don't want to do that. We're really looking at this game week only. Son is top with 7.4. Salah, Saka, Bowen, and Foden are in the top 5. If you've got that midfield, then it should be plenty of points for you. Watkins, Jackson, Gvardiol, Palmer, and Nathan Ake all in the top 10. So Man City are heavily favoured this week, and also a balance between Spurs, Liverpool, Arsenal, and West Ham there with Jared Bowen. In terms of price changes, Alvarez should be going up in price tonight. Same with Trent and Watkins. And in terms of price falls, it would be Trippier, Darwin Núñez, Lascelles, Mabama, Szoboszlai. And then, of course, you've got a few others that are close to price rises and falls. And all of this is actually very reliable. I used to use different sites, but now I'm not so sure what's happened to them. And I found this alternative, and it's actually very, very promising as well. In terms of a stats comparison between Salah and Son, over the last 6 game weeks, it's quite balanced, but Son is leading in terms of goals and assists, which is the most important thing in FPL. But in terms of big chances, yep, Son has 1 extra. Both of them have 3 big chances created. Key passes is almost identical, 2 in favour of Salah. XG is also slightly towards the Egyptian. Expected assists, though, in Son's favour. And then you've got shots, which, of course, Salah will lead in. But very interesting, a very balanced set of stats there for Salah and Son over the last 6 game weeks. But if we were to look at the beginning of the season, it'd be a completely different story, and that's where Salah comes out on top in pretty much every single metric. Key passes, big chances created, big chances, expected assists, expected goals, shots in the box, shots on target, goals, assists, you name it. Both of them have 6 double-digit returns this season, and Salah has been more consistent than Heung-min Son, and I think a lot of the metrics would point towards Salah being the best captaincy option this week. I actually covered it in yesterday's team selection video. Newcastle are bottom in terms of expected goals conceded over the last 5 game weeks, and not only that, there is a huge difference between them and second lowest Nottingham Forest. So bear that in mind. Newcastle have been all out of sorts defensively, but it would not surprise me if they park the bus and try to grind out a result at Anfield and maybe try to frustrate the Reds in that game. A bit similar to how Man United did a couple of days ago or a week ago now, but Salah still looks like a great captaincy option despite facing Newcastle at home. If we then go to Drafthound and see what they're suggesting, they're going for Son to Foden as a long-term transfer. So after Game Week 20, they're recommending Son to Foden, which is definitely in my consideration. And also Alvarez in for Solanke, which I don't completely agree with. It might pay off this week, but in the long term, I would back Solanke to be the better FPL option. So let's now go to my FPL team, and it will be very likely that I'll roll. So Areola in goal, Saliba, Pedro Porro and Trent as the back 3, Saka, Bowen, Salah, Palmer and Son as the midfield 5, and then Watkins and Solanke up front. The bench will be Dubravka, Cash, Archer and Lascelles. It's worth mentioning that Cash got a double-digit return, not even just a double-digit return, he got a brace against Burnley in the reverse fixture back in Game Week 3. But things change very quickly. He's been a useless FPL asset ever since. The captaincy is currently on Salah, but Son, Watkins, and a few others here and there like Bowen are considerations for the armband as well. I think Solanke is actually a decent shout this week, and Trent, of course, as well, as always. But yeah, I think I'm going to stick with those instead. We do have over 130 people watching. Let's be sure to get up the likes to over 100. That'd be greatly appreciated. And to make more strides towards goals like 23,000 subscribers, that'd be greatly appreciated, of course. And a goal we're looking to achieve very soon, early into 2024. So let's get into your questions again. Should I sell Trippier to Trent for a -4? Yeah, I'd just keep it simple. I'd do it. Trippier to Walker or Estupinian to upgrade midfields and forwards. Walker's been a bit useless recently. No clean sheets, and as a result, no bonus points, no attacking returns. But there could be a double game week very soon for Man City. The fixtures are there. With Estupinian, it's purely kind of a bonus points and assist thing, which, to be honest, you know, we do it with Pedro Porro. Why not with Estupinian? But my gut feeling would be to go for Walker. Will you sell Gordon this week? Yes, I covered this in the Trans Tips video, so definitely. Thank you, FPL Diamond. Always much appreciated, and I also appreciate your messages on Twitter. Punjabi says, hey, Dylan, how's the New Year weekend looking? Good. Arsenal could ruin it, but look, you never let your team influence how you celebrate things like New Year, of course, but that's just the way I am. Or Saka doesn't my team is taking up big money and doing nothing. Yeah, I completely agree. He's been very disappointing to say the least. I'm more frustrated as a supporter of the club, wanting the best for Arsenal. But yeah, Saka's really testing my patience. And Martinelli even worse in terms of Arsenal. And FPL-wise, Saka's been stinking it up in the last month. Kupsi Kup says, good morning, Dylan, and Happy New Year. Thank you. Likewise to you. Enjoy the time with your family and friends. Bench one of Gabriel, Saliba, Porro or Konsa. I'd bench an Arsenal defender. I still think they have the best defence, and a clean sheet against Fulham is likely. I'd still go for a 2-0 win for Arsenal. Maybe I'm very stubborn, but I'd rather balance things out a little bit and bench either Gabriel or Saliba. You know what? In this instance, I'd probably bench Saliba because Gabriel has a great record against Fulham, and I think that does play a part sometimes. Gabriel scored in both games last season against them. His first Arsenal goal came at Craven Cottage on his debut in a 3-0 win, I believe it was. and Gabriel scored from a set piece. So I'd go for Gabriel there and bench Saliba. And with Borro, yes, he'll probably concede a few goals to Bournemouth, but the attacking potential is always there. Miles says bench 1, Saka, Bowen, Solanke, Palmer. I mean, based on current form, you'd say Saka, but it's difficult for me to still say bench Saka when he's facing Fulham away. It might be an unpopular opinion, but I'd probably say Palmer, which does sound crazy when I say out loud, but it's just my gut feeling. Ruben says my wildcard team is Areola, Dubravka, Borro, Trent, Gabriel, Gusto, Konsa, Salah, Son, Bowen, Palmer, Foden, Alvarez, Watkins, Solanke. Any changes? Have 0.5 million in the bank. Interesting. I would look to upgrade the goalkeeper still. I know it's kind of a delicate situation. A lot of people sold Areola or benched him in the last couple of weeks, and people will advocate now for patience with goalkeepers. Of course, always have patience with any player, particularly goalkeepers, but at this moment in time, I'd look to upgrade the Dubravka to a better option, like a Raya ideally, but it would require downgrade elsewhere. I think looking at your outfield players, absolutely fine. You're spot on there. My only issue is that if you're wildcarding, having Salah and Son only pays off for 1 week, but there will be transfers waiting to happen. I would get rid of one of them, Salah or Son, which might burn you a little bit this week, but in the long term, it does save you hits. It also sets your team up nicely for the future, and it also allows you to upgrade your goalkeeper, who might even get a clean sheet this week and get the points over Areola, who I don't expect to keep that. So, yeah, I would consider that Salah or Son downgraded, depending on your preference. Keep one of them, fair enough, but they will be transfers waiting to happen anyway. Overall, though, you do have squad depth to cover for it, so it's not the end of the world. 0.5 million in the bank. Yeah, ideally, the only upgrade I'd really recommend is Dubravka to a better goalkeeper like Raya. But having said that, it would require downgrade elsewhere. And I'm looking at Salah and Son, and they're going to be transfers anyway. So that would be my recommendation. But the rest of your team is very solid. Would you bench boost Leno, Darwin, Udogie, and Pinnock? It's a good bench, but breaking it down, Leno, Udogie, and Pinnock, I don't see clean sheets. Darwin could be decent and make up your bench boost by himself, but I'm not so sure. Overall, I think you could have a better bench later this season. It's not a bad one, though, I have to say. 10, 15 points is definitely doable, and if you're happy with that as your bench, then go for it. But I personally wouldn't pull the trigger myself. I have a new idea, Haaland plus Gordon, Trippier to Alvarez and Foden, Trent -4 thoughts. Yeah, I'd go for it. My only issue with that is if Haaland is back very soon by Gameweek 21 or 22, you'd probably want to do Alvarez back to Haaland. I think Alvarez could start being benched as well. And I'm looking at other forwards like Solanke and Watkins. If you don't have them, they're much better options than Alvarez, in my opinion. Would you start Saliba or Gordon this game week? I'd go for Saliba. I would still go for Saliba. Morning, wait 1 week to get Stupinian in for some extra info. Yes, and also it's West Ham away. I don't think Brighton will keep a clean sheet. They got ripped to shreds on the counter-attack at the Amex Stadium earlier this season, and I think the way Brighton play could fall into West Ham's hands. So, yeah, I can go for Gordon to Foden as well. I'd rather do that. Gordon to Foden looks like a better move, especially this week. Let's see what else we have. So I appreciate all the kind messages. Son or Salah to Foden or Bernardo? Yeah, look, okay, so it's a tricky one. On the wild card, I wouldn't go for Son and Salah. Maybe even go without both of them because it's the best long-term play. But with free transfers, do not sell Son or Salah. I know that might seem a bit contradictory, but that's the way I'm looking at it. And unless you have really good squad depth and you can cover all these kind of issues and maneuvering your way out of this, then fair enough. But don't sell Salah or Son to Foden or Bernardo, in my opinion. I think there's still much better options. And I know Foden against Sheffield United is tempting, but I'd find another way to get him in. Roll the transfer and play Gay or Gordon, or transfer Alvarez in and sell Archer. Ideally, I don't know the context of your team there, Gords. It would be getting Alvarez in and selling Archer. Start Trippier or Zinchenko. Garnacho to Kudus this game week or next. Don't buy Kudus, mate, because he's going off to the African Cup of Nations in Game Week 21. So that's why I keep on saying in the last couple of weeks, don't buy Kudus, even though he looks good. And of course, he delivered against Man United and in other games. Yeah, it's just not worth buying Kudus right now. It's too late. If you want to buy him back, then fair enough. You can look to do so around Game Week 25 when he returns. Don't buy him now. Is Ake worth it? I don't think so. He'll be rotated a lot with Gvardiol. I think Ake is a very underrated defender in general. He should play more games, but No, I don't think it's worth it FPL-wise. Salah or Bowen for the captain. I'd pick Salah out of the two, but Bowen is a very good shout. He's in my top 5 to 10 captaincy options this week. I think he'll go down in price once more, if possible, Weiseng, but I don't think he'll go down in price enough to like 13.6 million. I think he only go down to 13.8 max. So I wouldn't expect too much on that front. No problem, Ruben. Bench Dubravka or Turner? I'd probably bench Dubravka right now. I think Nottingham Forest are more likely to keep a clean sheet against Man United than Newcastle against Liverpool. Bernardo or Sterling for this game week? For this game week only, it'd be Bernardo Silva. Wildcard team is covered in the wildcard video, and I even said there, if Haaland is still unavailable, you can go for Nkunku or another forward like Alvarez instead. It's all covered in that video, so be sure to check it out. Areola, Borro, Augusto, Douglas Luiz, shall I bench boost? It's a good bench. Borro and Augusto have attacking potential, but yeah, I'm still not... It's a good bench, you know. I'm going to say that. It's a good bench. It's worth a bench boost, but there's always that question of, could you wait for a double game week later this season, or could you have an even better bench in a couple of weeks' time? Who knows? But I'm not going to say yes or no in terms of should you bench boost. That's completely up to you. But in my opinion, it would do pretty well. Hi, Dylan. I have Gabriel, Saliba, Walker, Trent, Pau, and Darwin bench too. It might seem a bit weird, but I would bench Pau Torres based on the information that we got from Unai Emery. Difficult to bench the second one, though. Yeah, it'd be the Arsenal defender because you have two of them. I'd bench Saliba because Gabriel has a good goal-scoring record against Fulham, so I'd start him. Bench Saliba and Pau Torres. Gordon too, says Awali. I don't know who you have already, so it makes that question quite difficult to answer, but some options would include Foden. I like Jota in the coming weeks, but maybe not right now. Other midfielders would include Bowen. If you don't have Bowen, I'd buy him in right now without any hesitation. Rank these Son replacements: Richarlison, Odegaard, and Jota. Odegaard first, Jota second, and Richarlison third. But it all depends on Jota's fitness and whether he can start games by Game Week 21 onwards. Leno or Areola? This week it'd be Areola. Start Trippier, Wood, or Sterling, says Mr. Iceman. I'd start Sterling. Would you give Watkins captain this week? He's in my top 5 for the options, but I'm not sure if I'm going for it myself. Should I start Palmer or Solanke? Solanke. Merry Christmas, Dylan. Thank you very much. Likewise to you. Lascelles to Dallo or Gusto or other Chelsea defender? Gusto would be my favourite Chelsea defender. Out of the ones you mentioned, it's Gusto for me. Bench 1, Hwang, Saka, Bowen, Solanke, says Al Hazmi. It's probably Hwang. I think it's difficult for me to say that when he just got 14 points, but probably Hwang. Start Darwin or second Arsenal defender? Darwin. Gay or Branthwaite? No need for the spamming or the capitals, but yeah, out of those two, it's probably... I'm probably going for Branthwaite. Best two keepers on the wild card. I'm still going for Raya and Areola. I think in isolation, Alisson's the best goalkeeper. So if you can afford it and you don't mind that double up in the Liverpool defence with Trent, Alisson is obviously the best goalkeeper. But beyond that, it's probably Raya and Areola for me. Hi Dylan, who is my bench? Difficult, but I'd be tempted to say Richarlison. Best midfield target long term? I'd say Bowen. Would you give Watkins captain? We've covered. Soldier Boy, thank you very much. Ciao Dylan, Happy New Year. Can I ask, start 1, Palmer, Cunha, or Gusto? Well, out of those three, I'd probably go for Palmer. Cunha has been very consistent, but Palmer's my favourite of the three. Start 3, Zinchenko, Gabriel, Udogie, Borro, or Tarkowski. I'd start Gabriel, Borro, and maybe Tarkowski there. I wouldn't mind doubling up on the Arsenal defence and then benching Tarkowski. But I'd definitely start Gabriel and Borro, that's for sure. Thoughts on Estupiñán? He's a wait and see still. I think he'll start this week. But yeah, it's West Ham. I don't expect a clean sheet there. And yeah, with Estupiñán, it's a bit of a strange one. I don't think there's going to be many clean sheets, even over the next 6. Gordon or Palmer? Definitely Palmer. If you have Estupiñán, will you start him? Depends on your team situation, but I wouldn't start him over Arsenal defenders. I wouldn't go for him over Gusto this week. I also think Trent would be a better option. yeah, I think there are better choices elsewhere, but it all depends on your team situation. Aston Villa defenders look good this week too. Don't think we should overthink long-term planning as transfer window might change. True, and also injuries. There's also a kind of a few weeks break between now and Gameweek 21, so a lot could definitely change. Thank you, Punjabi, for the shout out. I appreciate it. And as he says, let's get this stream to 150 likes. We're currently on 60, so let's push on to 100 first, and then we can kick on from there. But I do appreciate that, mate. Let's see what else we have. Gordon or Palmer, we've covered. Two good defenders. Trent and I'd say Gabriel this week. Hello Dylan, please help me bench one. It'd be Gusto. I'd bench Gusto. Son or Salah for captain. I'm currently going for Salah, but Son is definitely in my thoughts. Bournemouth looks like an easier game than Newcastle, but based on current form, and this goes to the last 7-8 games of the season, Bournemouth are the most informed team in the league, and Newcastle are one of the worst, especially from a defensive perspective. So at the moment, I would actually fancy Newcastle as an easier game than Bournemouth. Hi Dylan, thanks for all your help during the year. Happy New Year. Thank you very much, Emma. I appreciate that. Do we expect any team leaks? I'm not so sure. It's kind of surprising sometimes, but it's possible. I'm not so sure if I'd count on it, though. Son and Salah go for national cups. Yeah, in Gameweek 21. So this is their last week for Son, Salah, Kudus, Hwang Hee-chan, all these Asian and African players that have been selected for their countries. Start a Doggy or Gordon. Probably a Doggy, but I don't expect a clean sheet for Spurs. From that perspective, you could just start Gordon, but yeah, tricky one, I think, this week. I'd probably just go for a... You know what? I don't expect Spurs to keep a clean sheet, and with Gordon, there's still the distinct possibility of a return. I'd probably go for Gordon, but I think both will blank. That's just my personal opinion. Hi Dylan, play Solanke or Palmer. Solanke, that's already covered. Hwang Hee-chan to Foden or Bernardo. Foden. Happy New Year. Bowen or Richarlison to transfer in. Thank you. Likewise to you. I'd go for Bowen all day long. Play Dubravka or Turner. Turner. Who to bench, says Mauro. Salah, Palmer, Martinelli, Hwang, Douglas Luiz, Solanke, Alvarez and Watkins. Well, based on not just recent form, but what we've seen throughout the entire season, it would be Martinelli. I probably bench Martinelli, which could backfire. I think it just takes that one goal for Martinelli to then maybe go on a run. But yeah, out of the ones you mentioned, it's probably him. Will Cole play? I believe so. Start Salah or Son on wildcard. You start both of them on the wildcard. If you're asking me to choose between them, maybe I'd go for Salah, but difficult one. Best Hwang replacements, says Thomas. I did cover quite a few options around that price. Obviously, Palmer stands out, but beyond Palmer, I'd be looking at Gross. I really would. 2 free transfers, 0.7 million. My defenses, Colwell, Gabriel, Gusto, Byrne, and Kabore. I would be tempted to... Yeah, so you don't have Trent, and ideally I would go to him, but if you're not able to do so, I'd still consider an Arsenal defensive double-up, which hasn't looked great recently, but I still think it could pay off long-term. You can also go for Alex Moreno. I'd really recommend that as a shout for you there, Alexander. So Byrne or Kabore to Alex Moreno. That should work for the next month or so. Buy Garnacho or Douglas Luiz. I still think Luiz will score more points, so he's my answer. Thank you, Lipuk, for the super chat. Much appreciated, mate. Bench 1, Palmer, Hwang, Foden, Solanke, Borro, and Walker. Ay, that is really tricky. Foden and Solanke definitely start for me. They're kind of undisputed. You know what? Sounds very difficult for me to say that. I mean, Borro's so difficult to bench. For me, it's between Palmer, Hwang, and Borro to bench. With Walker, I mean, he's got a low ceiling. You know, 8 points is probably the maximum he can get, and he needs a clean sheet. If Man City batter Sheffield United, which is possible, then Walker will probably just walk away with 6 points or just his typical 1 or 2. Yeah, all the other players have a higher ceiling than Walker, but based on the fixtures and what I think is going to happen, dare I say, I think I'd bench Pedro Borro from the ones you mentioned. Is Richarlison better than Gross? I'd probably go for Gross just because he's more of a consistent option over the course of the season. Richarlison is in good form. He also hit the post against Brighton and was very close to getting a tap-in, but yeah, I'd probably go for Gross at the moment. Look, Richarlison is still a decent option. I don't suddenly think he's terrible again, but the confidence still isn't fully there yet for me. Hi Dylan, bench Saka or Palmer? I'd bench Palmer. Buy Alvarez or any forward, Solanke would be my preference. Watkins is probably the best option. We need a captaincy poll, that is true. I actually was already going to set one up, so thank you for reminding me. I'm just going to bring up my stream and do a poll. So give me a second. Let's be sure to get this stream to over 100 likes. We've got over 100 people watching, so it'd be much appreciated, and it does help us in the algorithm. So let's put a captaincy poll. I did do one on my channel after the Haaland updates, and I did include Haaland in there because some people don't trust Pep and they'll captain Haaland anyway. But we're not going to include Haaland, of course, now. So who will you captain in Game Week 20? So we'll make that very simple. All right, so we'll go for Salah, Son, Watkins. Let me know if there are any other options you want to include in this list. I'm guessing Saka won't be there. Bowen could be an option. I might just put the other option, but I would guess Salah, Son, and Watkins would be the top three this week. I'd probably go for a Man City player, so I'm going to say Alvarez/Foden as one option. I think that would make sense. Or maybe I'll just tag a Man City player. Yeah, Alvarez/Foden would be enough. So I don't have enough options to maybe add in a fifth and a sixth choice. I can only put 4. So I'm going for Salah, Son, Watkins, and Alvarez or Foden as part of the same vote. So be sure to cast there. So JP, you can also be involved since you wanted that. Hi Dylan, do we know if Haaland is back next week? We don't know if he's back next week for sure, but he should be available in January. And as Pep Guardiola described, his injury isn't like it's not a fracture, and it's just really kind of like a stress issue. And it's basically once Haaland doesn't feel the pain, he's going to be available to play, and that can vary upon each day. So that can change very quickly, but he should be available very soon. Dubravka or Leno? Probably Leno. Also facing his former club, he's had some good performances against Arsenal. I think with Dubravka, yeah, the way Newcastle are defending right now, I think Liverpool could put 2, 3, 4 past them. Hi Dylan, starting Cuckoo or Palmer? I'd go for Palmer. Oddly enough, I think Nkuku could be benched against Luton Town. Play Diaby or Darwin? I'd still play... Tricky one. Darwin scored a brace in the reverse fixture. Diaby scored against Burnley earlier in the season, but Diaby's also a bit less likely to start. I'd probably go for Diaby still, but very close one. Hi, Gordon to Foden or Archer to Alvarez? Gordon to Foden. Ooh, that is a tricky one. In terms of your squad depth, obviously, Archer to Alvarez looks better, but my personal preference would be Gordon to Foden right now. Best player to bring in this week, still Bowen for me. Yeah, Foden might outscore him in Game Week 20 alone, but if I want someone for the long term, beyond Game Week 20, it's always Bowen for me. He looks like the better option, but it also depends who you're going to sell. Which defender would make way for Walker? Which midfielder are you selling for Bowen and Foden? That also plays a part, but Bowen is definitely my favourite. Thank you, Ruben, for moderating the chat. That was just excessive spamming. Hi, Dylan. Bench 2 of Richarlison, Palmer, Martinelli, Cash. Happy New Year. Likewise, Cyril. Bench 2. I'd bench Cash, and I'd probably bench Martinelli based on recent form. Is Darwin starting? I think so. Or should I use my only free transfer to bring Alvarez in? I think Darwin will start, but it also depends on Diaz's fitness. If he's available and ready to start the game, then it could be him, Gakpo and Salah, with Darwin being on the bench and coming off to make a difference. So that definitely depends on the other injuries Liverpool have. Jota, of course, is in the equation too. He might get a start to get his minutes really up there and his match sharpness. So Liverpool certainly have quite a few options, and Darwin isn't a guarantee to start. But I'd back him too. Gordon to Elise or start Gordon and roll? I'll be honest with Elise. I know he's returned in the last 3 games, but I'm still not fully convinced. Crystal Palace also have scored the second fewest goals in the Premier League this season. Yeah, it's a decent punt to do, though, to be fair. I think Gordon to Elise is worth it, but I think there are better midfielders elsewhere. Start Foster or Areola? I'd just go for Areola. Haaland to Watkins, yes. Play Cunha or Palmer? I'd play Palmer. Dylan, how do you think about picking Watkins or Solanke as a captain? They're both easily in the top 10. Solanke is an underrated shout against Tottenham. As for Watkins against Burnley, yeah. If they defend the way they did against Liverpool, I think Aston Villa will put 3 or 4 past them. Just Liverpool didn't finish their dinner on the day. Not enough, anyway. So, yeah, I think it's a good shout. Happy New Year, Dylan. Start Turner or Leno. Likewise to you, Fish. I'd go for Turner. Palmer, Sterling and Cuckoo bench 1. I'd bench in Cuckoo. Will Zinchenko start or not? Yes. I mean, let's not forget, Arsenal have Tomiyasu and Timber injured. If they were available, Zinchenko would not start in most Premier League games. What are you going to do with Salah and Son after this game week? It's covered in the team selection video, but I will be looking to sell them. That is the plan. Welcome, Pokemon, I'll say. Pokemon. Ahoy there. Play one of Zinchenko, Gabriel, Cash. I'd go for Gabriel. Good record against Fulham. And he's been pretty good. Well, he's been one of Arsenal's best players this season as well. Hi, Dylan. Start Gordon or Gusto? Gusto. But he's not guaranteed to start. Gabriel to Stupinian, never started him. I wouldn't sell Gabriel this week, Wei Seng. Obviously, with Stupinian, there's a lot of love for him now after that goal, but I'd still be a bit wary there. Start Solanke or Gabriel. I'd still go for Solanke, but I'd try to find a way to fit Gabriel into your team. I just have a good feeling about him. Great record against Fulham in terms of clean sheets and goals. Douglas Luiz or Watkins captain? Watkins. Is it a must-have City assets this game week? Not a must, but it is ideal. You'd want to have 1 or 2. Foden or Alvarez, and then possibly a defender like Walker, but it's not absolutely necessary. Drop Salah or Son on my wildcard. I'd say Son. I'd drop Son, but he's a great option against Bournemouth this week as well. It can go either way, but I'd rather have Salah. Start Cash or Saliba? Saliba. Already have Watkins and Solanke, so in Cuckoo or Alvarez or any other forward in for Haaland, Solanke. Yeah, of those you said, it's going to be Alvarez right now, because I don't think Nkuku's going to start. And I also look at Alvarez against Sheffield United and potentially starting the next couple of games at least before De Bruyne and Haaland return. Bench 2 of Saliba, Ake, Colwill, Concert and Richarlison. I'd bench Colwill and potentially Ake. Son to Bowen or Foden. Don't do it this week, Junior, but I would buy Bowen. That's my favourite move. Probably do the other 4, Salah next week. I just wouldn't sell Son against Bournemouth. I really wouldn't. He's got a good record against the Cherries. You know, even if Spurs lose the game, Son could likely be involved in a goal, just like we saw the other day against Brighton. But Son to Bowen is my favourite move. Bench Bailey, Watkins, Solanke or Alvarez. Probably Bailey. Pull some Kudus to Garnacho. I wouldn't do it this week. So with Kudus, keep him now. But he's a sell in Game Week 21. That would be my thinking. I'm not really there with Garnacho. I think he's going to be very inconsistent. He might have the odd game where he gets a big return like he did against Everton and Aston Villa, but I think in most games he'll blank. Saka sell? Not just yet. I'd still keep him for at least 1 more week, maybe even 2. And if he's still not improving and if Arsenal just don't click, then I'd be looking to sell. Start Solanke or Gross? Solanke. Any Chelsea team news? No, but Palmer should start. He's back from suspension. Bench 1 between Walker, Trent, Bodro or Gabriel. I don't want to bench Gabriel this week. I'm going to keep on saying that. I'll be very bullish on it. But out of the 4, yeah, Arsenal are in the most precarious situation right now, in my opinion. Bodro has the least chance of a clean sheet, but also probably the highest chance of an attack and return alongside Trent. Tricky one. Very tricky, but I'd probably bench Bodro from those 4. Sell Trippier to Moreno, Gusto, and Gordon to Burn for a -4? Yes, and I'd go to Moreno. Footy Matters says, hi Dylan, start 2, Martinelli, Gordon, Trippier, Cash, Gusto, thanks. I wouldn't start the Newcastle players. I'd go for Martinelli and Gusto. Trippier out for who? I have Trent, Saliba, Bodro, and Senesi, and might bench Gordon for the new defender. Alex Moreno would be a good shout for you. Gusto also looks decent. But yeah, I'd probably look at Alex Moreno. Hi Dylan, who's better for this week, Bodro or Colwill? I'm still going for Bodro. I think Luton Town will score. They've actually been quite good in the last month or 2. Sell Diaby or play him and roll the transfer? I think I'd play him and just roll the transfer. Aranya says, hi Dylan, not sure if you've answered it, but what transfers have you made this game week? None. Don't you think Newcastle will bounce back? Well, yeah, but look, it's just a very difficult place to bounce back in at Anfield. Newcastle have a poor record against Liverpool. They lost both games to them last season. They lost at St James's Park this season, despite facing 10 men. And yeah, of course, you know, football is about that, bouncing back. You have surprise results, and then you maybe turn up in a game you don't expect. Of course, anything's possible, but realistically, I think Liverpool win, and they also do it quite comprehensively. Newcastle have so many injury problems. Some of the players that have come back aren't fully fit, like Dan Burn, so they look a right mess at the moment, and Liverpool have key players returning from injury. Diaby to Bowen and bench Darwin, or roll and play Darwin. I'd probably do Diaby to Bowen, actually, from what you're saying there. Moyes said he's not sure Kudus will play against Brighton. Oh yeah, fair enough. I did see something about that. You might be right. I'll have a quick look now and give you the exact quote. So I appreciate that. It might be worth, you know, getting rid of instead. So the update we got was yesterday. We've not had confirmation on any of our AFCON players' join updates, which is very unusual. So we're hoping there is a chance he could be available to face Brighton. Okay, so yeah, that is the comment he made. So it's based on that. So thank you for putting it in my direction. I'll copy and paste the tweet or the comment made by David Moyes. So this is what he said, and it was yesterday. So I've put it in the live chat right now. Darwin to Alvarez this week. Yeah, I'd probably do it. The thing is with Alvarez, he's also a bit hit and miss, and he scored a penalty against Everton, but I'm not so sure about him, to be honest. Hi Dylan, do you think Brighton assets could be good to get on early? Yes, and Gross is my favourite. I covered him on my last wildcard video in the transfer tips, and even before that, the week before, I was already recommending him when talking about Matoma and Ferguson. Score prediction for Newcastle and Liverpool. I'll go for my predictions later. I haven't really thought about it yet, but I'm probably going to go for a comprehensive Liverpool win. Maybe 2-0, 3-0. I think that's where my head's at. Yeah, you know what? I'm probably going to go for a 2-0 Liverpool. Start Mitchell or Trippier this week? Mitchell. I mean, with Trippier, look, he can always get an attack and return out of nowhere and then bonus points, but it looks really difficult. Should I buy Alvarez? Depends who you're selling, what your team situation is, how that impacts your future transfers, but yeah, I don't mind buying him this week as an isolated transfer, but there's other things to consider when making that move. I have Saka, Bowen, Salah, Palmer. Now I'm confused on Gordon. Yeah, I think over the next three is a sell, and you can always buy him back when Newcastle improve and when their fixtures also have an upturn. My captain is Solanke because Spurs don't have a strong defence. Yeah, I'm absolutely on board with it. I think it's a good shout. He's not my captain or vice captain, but he is probably my top 5 options that I have in my team easily, and he's a consideration, so I don't mind that at all. Bench Hwang against Everton at home or Solanke? I'd rather bench Hwang. Start 3, Borro, Udogi, Cash, Share, Gay. I'd start Borro. I'd start Cash in the hopes that he starts, but that is very risky. And I'd probably go for Gay, but I can't lie to you, I don't expect much from your defence this week. Foden versus Watkins, who has a higher ceiling? Higher ceiling, I'd argue, I mean, tricky because Watkins did get 23 points against Brighton earlier this season, but that seems like a distant memory. Who has a high ceiling? I'd say Foden has the highest ceiling, but Watkins is more likely to return. Akanji will start this week. I guess so. I haven't really put much thought into the Man City predicted lineup, and I don't want to think about it because I don't have any City players. Start Saka or Solanke? Probably Solanke at this moment in time. Don't bench Saka though. I will say that. Don't bench Saka if you can. Should I sell Trippier to Trent for a -4? Yes. Start Gabriel or Konsa? Konsa. Is it worth share to Estupinian for a -4? No bench defenders. I don't think Estupinian will pay off the hit this week. It would pay off in the coming weeks. I don't see many clean sheets for Brighton, but assists and bonus points are possible for Estupinian and the odd goal. Any chance for a 0-0 Fulham Arsenal? I mean, yeah, it's possible, but I'd say the chances are quite slim. I think there will be goals in it. Yeah, I think Arsenal will score. It's a matter of time because in the last 3 games, 15 big chances for the Gunners. Their XG is over 7. They're missing sitter after sitter. All the players really are culpable. I think it has to change. Bench 1, Borro, Konsa, Saliba. I'd bench Borro out of the 3. Thank you, Aviad. Areola or Vicario? Areola. I don't think either keep a clean sheet, though. How do you think of returning of Nkuku, let Palmer to bench? I think Nkuku is more likely to be benched, though, and Palmer will definitely start, in my opinion. So I'd rather start Palmer. Who to bench, Solanke, Gusto, Bowen, or Palmer? I'd bench Gusto from those 4. That question's already answered. I'm not going to go through that again. Is it worth to sell Salah now for Foden, as I have to sell him next game week anyways? Don't sell Salah now. I think that's a mistake. Palmer, Wood, Gabriel, Garnacho, free to start. Palmer, Gabriel, and I'm probably going for Wood. Start Konsa or Gusto. Konsa. Play cash or use one free transfer for Gabriel or Alvarez in. I'd buy Alvarez. Am I crazy for putting the armband on Trent? No. Best FPL option since Game Week 8. He's got more points than Salah, Haaland, any option you can mention, so that's absolutely fine. I have 2 free transfers, not sure what to do. As you said, don't sell Son. Maybe Foster to Alvarez or Pinnock to Trent. Pinnock to Trent. I'll do that. Would you start Konsa over Porro or Gabriel? I'd start over Porro this week. Why is Arteta not benching Martinelli? I mean, I don't know. I think there's a bit more to it. I think if Arsenal had everyone available, because let's not forget, they do have around 5 players injured. You know, for example, a few options like Vieira would be very useful at the moment. Yeah, look, my ideal situation with the current setup is to play Trossard on the left, bench Martinelli. The last time this happened, Martinelli reacted very well and then went on a really good run in the title run-in. The question is, though, in the game against West Ham, Havertz was suspended, so you couldn't go for Havertz left centre mid and then go for Trossard on the left, which is a bit unfortunate. But then, yeah, Trossard as a left central midfielder just doesn't work. It simply doesn't. And Trossard is a very strange player because he's very good in terms of goals and assists. He's very effective, very good technically, but he does lack quite a lot of things. I don't think he's the best in terms of starting matches. So, yeah, look, I think Martinelli should be benched. But then again, Arsenal don't have many alternatives at this moment in time. Just Trossard and potentially Nelson. But Arteta doesn't fully trust Nelson. And then you ask, why did you give him the contract? And I honestly don't know, but it is what it is. Captain Solanke past 3 weeks might do it this week as well. I mean, he's one of the most informed players in the league, so why not? Should I captain Foden or Salah? Salah for me. Pau Torres to Moreno? Yes. Bench 1, Solanke, Colwill, and Konsa. Don't bench Solanke. I'd bench Colwill from those 3. Yes, I'd sell Trent. Sell Trippier to Trent. I've said this before. Bench 1, Solanke, Saka, Palmer, Richarlison. I'd bench Richarlison from those 4. Wildcard, Son and Solanke, or Richarlison and Wood, and Haaland next week for 1 free transfer. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I'd go for Son and Solanke. Who do I bench, Palmer or Cunha? I'd bench Cunha. Using one of my 2 free transfers, says Sabri. Trippier to Arsenal defender or Estupinian? Arsenal defender. Baldock or Burn? Baldock. Yeah, I guess. No. Probably Burn, but you don't really expect anything from either. Ideally, make a transfer, even for a -4 hit. Odegaard or Foden? Odegaard overall. This week, I'd give Foden the edge, of course, but I think Odegaard's a better option. Just let Jesus play on the wing? Yeah, that's also something else I'd consider. Playing Trossard down the middle, Jesus on the left, and Saka on the right. I think something needs to change, that's for sure. Bench 1, Palmer, Son, Salah, Bowen, Foden. A lot of tricky benching headaches. Whoever you bench, you're going to get bench points, in my opinion. I'd go for Palmer bench, but not ideal. Should I play Dubravka or Turner? Turner. Any shout for Bruno captain? No, not for me. I wouldn't go for that. Good record against Nottingham Forest. Man United pretty much always beat them, but new manager bounce, Nuno Espirito Santo's really got them going. Yeah, I think I wouldn't captain either. Trippier and Tsimikas to Trent and Gusto -4. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Not the biggest fan of Gusto, but for a 4.1, 4.2 million defender, it's not the worst in the world. Dylan, bench Colwill or Pedro? I have Solanke. I'd bench Colwill. Bench 1, Hwang, Palmer, Richarlison. Probably Richarlison. Welcome, Prince Izzy. Hi, Dylan, compliments. Bench 3, Solanke, Trippier, Gordon, Konsa, Borro, Gabriel, and Kudus. I'd bench Gordon. I'd bench Trippier. And based on what we've heard, I'd probably bench Kudus. That is risky, though, because if he does play, and I think West Ham will try find a way to get him to play before heading off to AFCON, then Kudus could cause big damage to Brighton. You know what? I'm probably going to say Gordon, Trippier, and Borro bench. Have Borro first on your bench, though. That's for sure. I have the Bravka and a non-playing goalkeeper. Should I upgrade second slot? Yes, I would. Would you use your free transfer on a goalkeeper? I have Turner and the Bravka. I would, ideally. I would. I don't expect Forest to keep a clean sheet. Having said that, goalkeepers are so difficult to nail on this season. Areola looked absolutely useless for, 17, 18 game weeks this season. Then he keeps clean sheets against two of the biggest clubs in the land. So that's football for you. Any idea when Man City will have their double game week? No. It should be before game week 30. That's all I would know. And I think the Premier League are quite eager to have that rescheduled as soon as possible. I couldn't give you an exact game week, maybe 24, but it's all in the air at the moment. Gabriel or Palmer to start? Palmer. Start Walker or Gabriel? Walker. Hi Dylan, hope you're well. 2 free transfers rolling. 1 tough choice between Archer to Alvarez or Gordon to Foden Bernardo. Yeah, I can see why. I just think Alvarez could be a maintenance transfer, someone you want to get rid of in a few weeks' time for Haaland, or maybe a Solanke or Watkins very soon if you don't have them already. So I'd rather go for Foden. I think Liverpool-Newcastle is going to be a very cagey affair. Newcastle do everything to stop Liverpool. Yeah, I went for 2-0, and based on that prediction, you could argue there are better captaincy options elsewhere. Another 9-0 Watkins masterclass incoming at its Villa Park. Well, yeah, I mean, 9-0 I think would be a bit excessive. And Burnley have improved a little bit recently, but if it wasn't for Trafford's heroics, Liverpool could have won by 5 or 6 the other day. In terms of the captaincy poll, by the way, it's Salah leading the pack with 53%. Alvarez Foden is in second with 27%. And then it's Watkins in third with 12%. And Son is last with 9%. I'm not going to lie, Watkins is tempting me, but I just have such a bad history with him. Maybe a great captaincy haul could change my whole perception of him, but I don't know, that's asking for too much. Yeah, Solanke's a good shout. I mean, it's up to you if you want to captain him or not. Spurs are still a good team, and they could maybe suffocate Bournemouth in a lot of the game and really attack them and keep them, pinned in their own box. But I still think Bournemouth will find a way, score 2 or 3 goals, and Solanke will be involved. Trent is on 4 yellows. Are you concerned? Not really, especially if you have good squad depth. Of course, ideally, he goes through this game unscathed. It's also worth mentioning, actually, Liverpool have played their 19th game already, so the yellow cards are reset. So Trent would need another 6 now to get a suspension. So not concerned at all. Who should I bench? Douglas Luiz versus Burnley at home or Palmer? You know what? I'd probably rather bench Palmer, but that's an unpopular opinion. Alvarez or Watkins to captain? Watkins. Bench 1, Gabriel, Gusto, Estupinian. I'd bench Estupinian. Bowen for captain, another great shout, just like the Solanke one. He's in my top 5 to 10. Let me actually try break it down in terms of my favourite captaincy options. So, I'm not going to lie, my number 1 pick is still up in the air. It's between Salah, Son and Watkins, I'd argue. I think those 3 stand out the most to me. So beyond those 3, I'd say Foden is 4th. Bowen, I'd say Bowen is probably 5th. I'm still going to put Saka quite up there. I think Trent would be 6th. Then I'd put Saka 7th. In 8th place, I'd probably go for Solanke. And then, yeah, if I can even somehow complete the 9th and 10th, that'd be great. But I might be asking for a bit too much. There's always going to be kind of like an outside shout, like a Bernardo Silva who can do really well this week based on the fixture. Yeah, I think Alex Moreno would actually catch my eye this week against Burnley at home. He'd be my top 10 potentially, but of course that is a bit of a stretch, I'm not going to lie. But yeah, the top 3 for me are Salah, Son and Watkins, and it's just a matter of ordering them in the right way and nailing on the captaincy, because I've had an awful record this season with the armband. I've always kind of gone for the kind of template pick, and maybe that needs to change. I might just go for Watkins, be a bit different. I'm kind of tired of always going for the most popular option and then they end up blanking. Of course, it's better than not going for the popular captaincy option and them hauling, but yeah, I honestly, I just couldn't care less at this point. I just want to get one a bit nailed on. I'm keeping an eye out on for Twitter. I don't see anything right now. But yeah, Salah's currently my captain. He's my #1 pick at the moment, but that could easily change before the deadline. In terms of the votes we've had how much? Yeah, nearly 300 votes, and over 50% have gone for Salah. Let's see how we're doing in terms of likes, because it's not updating here. Yeah, we're 6 away from 100. Be sure to get this video to over 100, and then we'll push on to 150 plus for the last deadline stream of the season. Like I also said earlier, be sure to check out my friend's YouTube channel. I put a link earlier in this stream, so be sure to do the same once again. I'm going to put a link yet again here in the stream. So yeah, in terms of the deadline, we do have 53 minutes already. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? But yeah, I'm actually just going to show you very quickly on screen and also put a link in the live chat. So let's get this channel to 500 subscribers. We're literally 15 away in terms of helping a very good content creator for entertainment, video games, films, shows, you name it. Mainly in terms of shows and films, it's very, very good. So be sure to check out the channel. I'm going to show you now on screen too. AJDC, he's also helped a lot with some of the graphics you see and the thumbnails. Very, very good. He has helped my channel a lot, and he also deserves a lot of, well, just a lot of love for the videos. He really does. So yeah, be sure to check out this channel, AJDC. He has gone up actually, so thank you to those that did subscribe. We've helped a little bit in terms of gaining a few subscribers. He's 15 away from 500, so be sure to help him out. And yeah, there's going to be much more great content in 2024 from this, and I've watched every single video. I'm telling you, believe me. He also had a Twitch channel. I was always engaged too, so be sure to check out this channel there. Back to my FPL team, which is so good. Yeah, I'm going to end this poll, and if you want to see another poll, be sure to let me know. And of course, like I said, be sure to subscribe to the channel that I mentioned, subscribe to this channel, and smash the like button as well. Once it gets to 300 votes, I will end this poll and maybe put another one later. Do it, Gabriel captain. Yeah, I wouldn't captain him, but I think he's a good option this week. I genuinely do. I'm sure I'll captain Kudus only if I knew he would play. No, the only information we have is that David Moyes doesn't have information about when Kudus needs to go off to the African Cup of Nations. My guess is that Kudus will play, but that's a guess. It's not based on facts. It's literally a gut feeling. I just think West Ham will find a way to persuade the Ghana Federation to allow Kudus to play. Thoughts on Sarabia? As a budget option, he's okay. Same with Garnacho or a Thomas Soucek, but I'd still rather go for a bit more of an expensive option like a Palmer, who's significantly better overall. Goalkeeper likely to keep a clean sheet? I'd say David Raya still. Apart from Raya, I'd go for Edison. I think those are probably two that stand out this week, and Martinez. Budget defender for 4.6 million or under. If I'm not mistaken, let me just get this up first. Yeah. Budget defender for 4.6 million or under. I'd say Branthwaite, Tarkowski are good options long term, and Gusto. My favourite right now would be Gusto, but I also like the Everton defenders too. Darwin to Alvarez on a free transfer and captain Alvarez. I don't think I'd captain Alvarez, to be quite honest with you. He's a good option. He could do really well. But I'm also looking at this season, the trends we've seen, and a lot of these really popular choices like Watkins and Haaland, these strikers who've faced Sheffield United, they've actually blanked or not done that well. In Haaland's case, he got a return, but he also missed a penalty and missed a handful of chances, but every game's different. Bench one, Palmer, Gusto, Gabriel, Gordon. I'd probably bench Gordon. Start Palmer or Solanke. Hey Dylan, start Trippier or Gordon. Probably Gordon. No worries, DNN. Which one to bench? Gabriel, Magalhaes, Trent, Palmer or Wood? I'd bench Chris Wood. Start Colwill or Trippier if I'm playing Trent and Gusto as well. I'd probably still start Colwill. I don't expect much there. I had Trent as captain this game week, and it was a better choice than Salah. Yeah, to be honest though, Salah had, what, 2 free shots on target? He really should have scored as well, by the way. And look, it's a game of fine margins. Burnley had a great chance to score, and sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles. But Salah's a poor record against Burnley. I did kind of oversee that because it was a different team, a different manager in Sean Dyche, but there you go. That's the way it is. Should I sell Trippier to Trent for a -4? I said yes. Start Archer or Sarr. Probably Saar, but I don't expect anything from either. Players leave for AFCON next game week, yes, and also the Asian Cup. Joao Pedro or Solanke for the future as well. Solanke all day long. Who to bench, Andreas or Colwill? I'd bench Andreas Pereira. Thoughts on Bernardo Silva? Decent punt for this week. He will have the odd kind of game week where he does really well, but long term, I'd rather have Foden. Are Darwin and Diaby starting? I'd say yes to both, but remember with Liverpool, Jota's back, Diaz could be back as well, so Darwin won't start every single game. Lascelles to a Villa defender, maybe a Stupinian. Alex Moreno would be my favourite Villa defender right now. Constance also just a nailed-on option. Estupinian, yes, he's going to catch the attention now, but I'm also not convinced about Brighton defensively, and I wouldn't bring in Estupinian this week. Alvarez and for Archer, I'd say yes. Palmer or Gabriel to start? Palmer. Thank you, John Paul. Great work on the channel in 2023. Take out Hwang Hee-chan for Bowen, Foden, or hold. I would take out Hwang Hee-chan for Bowen. Great long-term pick. To start, Gordon or Pinnock. Difficult one. I'm not expecting much from either, yet again. But I'm probably going for Pinnock, you know. I'm probably going to go for him. Bench Solanke, Saka, or Hwang. I'd bench Hwang. Hey, Dylan, I want to remove Tsimikas for Trent and Darwin for Alvarez, says Ashraf. Yeah, absolutely fine. I'm on board with it. Darwin could do well against Newcastle. We've got the most or the highest expected goals conceded over the last 5 game weeks. They're leaking in so many chances. So yeah, Darwin could be a good shout this week, but overall I think Alvarez is better. Palmer or Saliba to start? I'd go for Palmer. Start Gordon or Archer? I'd go for Gordon. Matt's Collectibles put his team. Should I take a -4 for anyone? Benches Gordon, Mikolenko, and Trippier. I don't think you need to, looking at your team. No, I don't think a -4 hit is necessary. I just roll with what you have. Bench 1, Douglas Luiz, Alvarez, Saka, Bowen, Solanke, says Abu Jubair. Jubair. Great name. I just can't pronounce it, I think. That is so difficult. I'd probably bench Douglas Luiz, but great fixture. He's on penalties. That could easily burn you. Hi, Dylan. Would you start Gusto or Gabriel? Gabriel. I got burned by Hwang last week by benching him. Yeah, I know. I can understand that logic. I'd still bench him from the ones you mentioned, though. Bench 1, Gibbs White or Nkuku. I'd bench Gibbs White, but there is also a chance that Nkuku doesn't start. And that's just me saying it based on the quick turnaround. He just came back from a lengthy spell on the sidelines. Bojan Zubac says Haaland to Archer and bring Arnold, or Haaland to Nkuku, Alvarez and bring Arnold. Go to Alvarez and also bring in Arnold. That's the best case. Bench Palmer, Bowen, or Solanke. Out of those 3, I'd bench Palmer. Motorotive, great name, says start Saka or Bowen. Bowen. Flecken or Areola, who to start? Flecken. Haven't taken a captaincy risk all season. I'm putting the armband on Trent. Good luck, everyone. Yeah, same here, to be honest. I haven't done it. I've always gone for who I genuinely believe will score the most points, but it just hasn't worked out. And honestly, I'm kind of second-guessing myself at this stage of the captaincy, which might be a bad thing. And it's kind of typical that when Salah blanks against Burnley, and now he faces Newcastle, which looks much tougher on paper, he ends up hauling. But it's not a simple science, the captaincy. Should I get rid of Isak for Alvarez and bench Hwang or roll? I think in this situation, I just start Hwang and roll the transfer, but I can understand why you'd want to do Alvarez in. And to be honest, that is a pretty good move as well. I think either's fine, but if it were me, I'd probably roll and then use the 2 free transfers to sell Hwang and any other Asian or African players that are heading off to those competitions. Saka sold for Bowen, fair enough. Don't be surprised if Saka starts to do well, though. That's the kind of the way football works and FPL, but Bowen is a better FPL option right now, that's for sure. Got feelings Watkins will score big, gonna captain him. Yeah, I might do it myself, and also I want an excuse or a reason to start liking the guy because I really dislike him FPL-wise, I really do. Opinion on Moreno since Dean is out for 3 weeks. I actually mentioned him quite a few times in the stream, especially for people looking for a 5 million defender or below. So yeah, Alex Moreno is definitely someone I'd recommend. If I were to buy a defender this week, it probably would be cash to Alex Moreno and then starting him. I genuinely would, look at doing that. And maybe I still will, but I would like the 2 free transfers and the ability to have more flexibility in the future. So yeah, right now we do have 112 likes. Thank you to those that have helped out. Let's now get this stream to 150 likes and keep on pushing towards new goals. We're also making progress towards 23k, but it is a long road. It definitely is, especially at this time of year. So any support is massively appreciated. Yeah, we've pretty much now got 44 minutes. Be sure to lock in your teams as soon as possible. Gordon to Foden or Bowen. I'm going to keep it simple and go for Bowen. Foden seems 1 week punt, could save the headache, and just get Bowen. Exactly. I mean, you said it yourself, Steve. And yeah, I think Foden will do better this week, or potentially do better. But I think Bowen is a better option overall. I have Salah already as captain, so I think I'll remove Darwin for Alvarez. Fair enough. That's absolutely fine. Hi, Dylan, captain 1, either Watkins, Solanke, or Alvarez. I'd go for Watkins out of the 3 you mentioned. I genuinely would. So we do have almost 400 votes for this captaincy poll. Salah has won it with 49% of the vote. In second place is Alvarez/Foden with 30%. In third, it's Watkins with 11%. And Son finishes last with 10% of the vote. So let's now actually put a different poll out. And it'll be in regards to my transfer plans. And then you'll see. So based on the team you see on screen, which transfer would you make? And I just saw a super chat there by Aaron. I genuinely appreciate that. I'm going to go through that in just a second once I put this poll out. So based on the team you see on screen, which transfer would you make? And I think the options would be Archer to Alvarez. We'll go for that. I'll go for the midfielder transfer as well. Saka to Foden. Yeah, so let's put that there. Also going to go for Cash. Or Lascelles, actually. I mean, either one, really. They're both useless. Cash, Lascelles to Moreno. And the last option will be Roll the transfer. I think that's pretty much all the options I can exhaust. So, yeah. Let's put that up. Hopefully no autocorrect, which Safari loves to do. All right, so there we go. And now let's get to the super chat. I'm not going to miss that. So thank you very much, Aaron. I do appreciate it. So a simple question. Bench 1, Bodro, Trent, Mikalenko, or Walker? I bench Mikalenko out of the 4. He has been very impressive this season, but out of these 4, especially in the last few weeks, his attacking potential has dried up. He had that injury problem, came back recently. But I think, yeah, I'd rather start the other 3. Mikalenko is the one I would bench. Let me know what your current thinking is too. Welcome, Sanjay. Good to see you. Maguire third bench, so not needed right now, but worth using a free transfer to get Moreno for the future. And first bench Bodro, says Marco 107. Fair enough. I think that's absolutely understandable. Bench Gabriel Solanke. I'd bench Gabriel. Turner Areola. I'd start Turner this week. Abhishek says, hi Dylan, Happy New Year in advance. Bench 1, Garnacho, Palmer, Solanke. I'd bench Garnacho. Thank you very much for the kind words, Abhishek. Likewise to you. Enjoy the new year. I hope you have a great one. Best goalkeeper to buy alongside the Bravka. Yeah, I still think Raya. Let's put it into context. Arsenal have conceded 14 expected goals, yet they've conceded 18 overall. I think there is a huge underperformance there, which might be in part due to Raya. He saved the penalty the other day to save Arsenal from complete embarrassment, but I have to be honest, it still was embarrassing. I still think Arsenal have the best defence, I'm going to be honest. So, yeah, Raya's a good shout. Alisson's the best in isolation. He'll get the most points from now until the end of the season. So, yeah. Any spam questions, by the way, you know the drill. Will be, you're going to be put on timeout, so don't do it. I don't want to put people on timeout, but yeah, it's just, come on. Let's be sensible. I'm captaining Alvarez. Good enough, fair enough. All the best to you, Abhishek. I hope you do well. Alvarez would be in my top 5 or 6. But then again, my captaincy has been awful this season, so don't listen to me, would be my advice. Bench Richarlison or Palmer? Probably bench Richarlison. Pinnock to Walker or Trent? Trent all day long. It has to be. Start Trippier or Senesi? Senesi this week, which sounds crazy. Moreno or Estupinian on a wild card, says Tren de Geus. Moreno. No worries, AGDC, you deserve it, and hopefully you get to 500 subscribers very soon. Should I wildcard 2 in Gameweek 21 to avoid unnecessary hits? It says Alfred69. I'm not so sure if I want to play the wildcard that soon. There's going to be double game weeks and blanks in the future, and a few other things to consider. I wouldn't do that ideally. Start 2 of Anderson, Gabriel, Mikalenko, says Cylindra. Mamma mia. Gabriel Mikalenko is what I'd go for. Start Gabriel versus Fulham away, or Konsa versus Burnley at home. Konsa. quite a tough one, though. I keep on saying it. Gabriel has 4 goals against Fulham, scored in both games last season. Gabriel, of course, over the last couple of years, has got the most goals of any Premier League defender with 11. But yeah, I think I'd probably go for Konsa. Will you captain Alvarez? I didn't say I'm transferring him in. It's just winning the poll. But I wouldn't transfer him in. I'm not saying I'm going to transfer him in, because if I do, then who do I bench? Do I bench Saka? I'm not going to bench Salah or Son. I'm not going to bench Watkins or Solanke. So it kind of comes down to benching Saka, Bowen or Palmer, and I don't think it's worth it. Maybe I'd bench Palmer. Maybe I would, but I'm not so sure if it's worth it. Who is better to transfer in, Foden or Bernardo Silva? Foden. Also, Ivan Toney for the 2 deadline game weeks in January. Well, with Toney, he's going to be back in our thinking in Game Week 21. He's going to be back, added to the game, and he was the 3rd, or the 2nd, actually. You know what? He was the 2nd best forward in FPL last season, up until a suspension. And yeah, I think in a few weeks' time, or in a month's time, 2 months' time, if he's still at Brentford, we could see a case where Haaland, Watkins, and Toney is the ideal front 3. But there's also Solanke to think about, and you've also got Cuckoo coming into the equation. There's a few other options now, all of a sudden, in the forward line. But yeah, Toney will enter our thinking, but he's definitely at a void for now. He needs to build up that match sharpness and also the fitness overall. Start Trippier Senesi, we've covered. Bench 1 of Gordon, Solanke or Saka, says Sarro Dose. I would bench Gordon. Sterling, I mean, your funeral. I mean, I honestly just don't like Sterling as an option. Very frustrating. I mean, he played well against Wolves, and yet everyone remembers that lack of a pass to Cole Palmer. I'm captaining Solanke, but I'm playing Border in defence. You can still get returns from both. How do I watch games at the same time? I put one on the TV sometimes, one on my laptop, one on my tablet, maybe one on my phone. That's something I could do, but yeah, of course, some people have monitors, different monitors. That's something I could do in the future as well, but I don't always watch multiple games at a time. I just do it from time to time, especially when games are on Amazon Prime, as has been the case the last couple of days. Dylan benching headache, Saka, Bowen, Foden. Salah, Palmer, bench 1. Probably Palmer. Should I buy Bowen or Foden? Bowen. Captaining Bowen, good luck, Muffin. Let's see how that goes. Foden or Salah captain? Salah. Odegaard, Bowen, Foden, Richarlison, Luiz. Choose any 2. My favourite options long-term would be Bowen and Odegaard. Can my captain finally do something? Yes, but you need some luck. Who is better as a transfer in, Foden or Bernardo Silva? I've covered. Can you explain why Gordon over Archer? Because I don't think Sheffield United will score against Man City. And with Gordon, I mean, I don't really expect Gordon to do much. I think both will blank, but I think Gordon's more likely to return. He scored in the reverse fixture against Liverpool. So it's up to you. But I just think Gordon's more consistent over the course of the season. It's worth mentioning he hasn't really returned much away from home, but that could still change. I've covered that to death. I'm not going to go through that again. 1 free transfer, get Alvarez and bench Saliba, or roll and start Saliba. I just roll and start Saliba. Cash or Lascelles to Trent. They're both quite useless right now. I'd probably say sell Cash, but it also depends on when you purchase these players. How much value would you lose in them? Lascelles is a bit cheaper, so you could get away with benching him, and he should be back very soon. But then again, even if he's back, is he going to start games? And I don't think he will. But if Newcastle continue to struggle defensively, they might bring Lascelles back into the starting 11. So it's quite a difficult one, but I'd rather sell Cash, I think, which is a tricky question to answer. Bench 1, Tarkowski or Cash. I'd probably start Cash in the hopes that he gets a start, but he's useless. He really is. Zinchenko or Cash, plus isn't Cuckoo going to start this game week? I think he will, because there is a week break until the FA Cup, and then another week break for the next Premier League games. But there is a chance he doesn't. Zinchenko or Cash, I'd go for Zinchenko. My first red arrow this week since game week 6, game week 8 wildcard, had to come at some point. Yes, it happens, but still a good rank to be in. Fairly decent, I'd say, yeah. I have Saliba and Gabriel on my team. I'm thinking of one of them to trend this week. Then next week, I'm bringing in one of them again for Konsa. Not so sure about that defender roundabout, but I can see why you're doing it. This week, I prefer Gabriel over Saliba, but long term, I think Saliba is the best FPL option. for the Arsenal defenders. Not really, Sanjay. I did say to a lot of people to bench Palmer, so I don't really think so. Should I buy Bowen or Foden? I'd buy Bowen. I'm not going to cover that again. Exactly, I think rolling is the best choice for you. Yeah, in terms of the poll, that is second with 24% of the vote, but transfers are always exciting, and that's why people are kind of voting for Archer to Alvarez, which looks the best in isolation. Thoughts on Foden captain? He's 4th or 5th on my list this week. If I had him, I wouldn't captain him, but he's a good shout. I have 11 blanks in my captaincy choice this season. That is crazy. I probably have something similar or more. Start Cash or Gabriel? I'd go for Gabriel. Bench Diaby or Gross? I would go for Diaby this week. Gross is the best option overall, though. Should I start Diego Carlos, Trippier, Stupinian? I'd go for Diego Carlos. He has to start, I think. Bench 2 of Trent, Gusto, Borro, Konsa, Estupinian, says JR. I would bench Estupinian and Gusto. Start 1 of Cash or Gordon, or get Alvarez for free and start him, says Adil Ali. I'd start Cash. I think that's what I'd do. Bench a Doggy, Gabriel Sinchenko, or Konsa. I'd bench a Doggy. Without Romero, Spurs' backline is a mess. Another Solanke haul is incoming. Even with Romero, I think Solanke would do well, and Bournemouth would score goals, but it makes it even worse. Trent captain? Yeah, also a shout. He's in my top 10. I think Newcastle could nick a goal, but yeah. Any Arsenal watch-alongs in 2024? Great emoji. Possibly, but it's not a great... Maybe it's not ideal, or it's not... Might not be good for the future of this channel. I could get cancelled immediately. Let me just put it that way. Watching Arsenal infuriates me, to say the least. Buy Alvarez or Jesus? I'd rather buy Alvarez. Is it essential to have 2 free transfers next game week? Not essential, but it's a big plus. Do I start Richarlison or get Alvarez in? I'd just start Richarlison. Bench 1, it would be Garnacho, and I think I answered this before. Could Darwin score last minute 2 goals versus Newcastle? Yeah, he can. I'd back him to score this week, actually. Official Cowpers' team. Mikalenko, Senesi, Haaland. I did a -8 hit for Salah, Hwang Yi-chan, Kudus for Bailey, Dawson, Arnold. I'm not going to lie, I don't think that makes sense. To do a -8 hit this week to sell Salah, Hwang Yi-chan, and Kudus. Yes, they're all going off to AFCON and Asian Cup, but that's in Gameweek 21, and you're selling Salah for a -8 hit when he's going to be captain in mass. I'm not so sure about those moves. I think long-term, yeah, over the next 4 or 5, it looks good, but this week, you could be burned massively. Bench 1 from Gabriel, Borro, Konsa. I would bench Borro from those 3. Gordon to Gross. Yes. It's just a simple yes. Arman, you asked this question multiple times. I've answered it. I'm not going to go for it again. Simple as. Start Cash or Doughty. I'd go for Cash. Armada to Bowen or Gordon to Bowen. I'm not sure who that Armada guy is, but I'd sell him, I guess, if I don't know who it is. Does using the wildcard or free hit will return to my team after Game Week 20. There's only 1 free hit available for the season. The wildcard will replenish in Game Week 21. Your second wildcard will become available, but there's no extra free hit. You only get 1 for the entire campaign. Captain Bowen, good shout, but I wouldn't go for it myself. Gabriel or Saliba. Saliba long-term is the best move, so I'd rather have him. And Konsa or Borro. Konsa. If you're asking me who to start this week, I'd go for Gabriel over Saliba. But beyond this game week, I prefer Saliba, so hopefully that is clear. Kabore to Soufal. I don't trust West Ham defensively. I wouldn't let the last week fool me. Ariel is the only West Ham defensive asset you'd need. I don't think you need an extra one. Soufal's not bad, but if you have Areola, don't buy him, in my opinion. Do I sell Trippier to Walker or Gabriel? I'd rather go for Gabriel still. The only plus I have with Walker is a potential double game week soon. Start Turner or Dubravka, I'd go for Turner. Start Gusto or Elise, I'd go for Elise. Bench 1, Colwill, Palmer, Saka. I'd bench Colwill. Start Palmer or Cash, I'd go for Palmer. Joao Pedro, good option. He's okay, but the best Brighton asset remains Pascal Gross in the midfield. Is it too late to sell Haaland? No, I don't think it's too late to sell him. He's probably going to be available in Game Week 21 or 22. Yeah, exactly, Singh. I appreciate the mods that have been helping out. Saka to Foden for a -4? No. Aranya says my 11. Dubravka, Trent, Borro, Gabriel. 2 free transfers, 1.5 million in the bank. Transfer starting 11, captaincy and bench order. That is a lot to sort out, but I'd probably go for Leno over Dubravka. The defensive free is fine. I'd go for that defensive free. Yeah, the midfield's also good. I would be tempted to maybe I'd start a Mikalenko over Gordon, for example, or make a free transfer. You've got 2 free transfers for a reason, actually. So, yeah, I'd keep it quite simple and do Gordon to Foden this week. And, yeah, like I said, I'd go for Leno over Dubravka as well. Son captain's fine, but Bournemouth is the most informed team in the league, so it's not an easy game. Powell playing, he's not fully fit. I don't think he'll start based on that information. Bring in Bowen or Elise. Bowen. Hwang Hee-chan or Kudus or Richarlison for this game week. If he starts, it'd be Kudus. That is a big if, though. Ghana might be a bit stingy based on the African Cup of Nations. Burn or Senesi as first bench. Senesi. Archer to Alvarez, good move. I'm not doing it myself, I think, but it is the most voted option. How long would Son and Salah be out for? It all depends on how far South Korea and Egypt go in their respective competitions. But in the case of Salah, we could be looking at Game Week 25 if Egypt win the competition. And also, Salah could blank in Game Week 26 should Liverpool reach the Carabao Cup final. And then he'll be available in Game Week 27. But my guess would be Game Week 24 for both of them. It could be a bit later or sooner, depending on how far they go. But yeah, Game Week 24-25 is when they should start to return. Yeah, we're very close to the deadline. It's now 27 minutes. Captain Son or Salah. Salah out of the 2. Thoughts on Richarlison over this game week and long run. Still a decent option, he'd be my thinking, but I think there are better alternatives elsewhere. Also, there's a super chat here from Haribo. Thank you very much, Haribo, for all the contributions. I appreciate it. No worries. Any Man City leaks? As far as I'm aware, there are no leaks at the moment. Don't ask why, but I must bench either Richarlison or Saka. What would you do? I mean, based on recent form, you'd bench Saka, but I might be a bit stubborn. I still trust Saka more than Richarlison, and it's just a matter of time before Saka gets returns. He had an XGI of 1.15. He had multiple shots on target against West Ham, and he also created some big chances in the last couple of weeks. He should have more assists. I'm going to go for Saka to start, and I'd bench Richarlison. Happy New Year to you as well. I hope you have a great 2024. Thank you very much for the super chat, as always. I genuinely appreciate it. Salah might be out for at least the whole of January. Yeah, exactly that. Lascelles out for Walker, Trent, or Stupinian. Trent all day long. Bench Richarlison or Foden. I would bench Richarlison. Did I hear Powell won't start? I'm not saying he won't start. I just think, in my opinion, it's just my opinion, because he's not fully fit. And if Unai Emery's telling the truth, and if that's still the case, then yes, they don't need to rush him back against Burnley at home. But it all depends on the fitness. It really does. Durgish says 2 free transfers, Darwin to Alvarez or Mikalenko to Gusto. Yeah, I'd rather do Darwin to Alvarez, but both moves are good. Play Gabriel or Virgil? Gabriel. Should I transfer out Hwang Hee-chan or can I save the transfer? I'd probably save the transfer and sell him in Game Week 21. Also on Diaby over Darwin. I mean, better fixture, not a bad shout, but yeah, if it was me, I'd probably go for Diaby just about. Start Raya with Saliba, double Arsenal defence. Yeah, I'd do that. What midfielder would you bench if I transferred in Saka, Bowen, Salah, Palmer, Son? That's exactly what I've got the exact same midfield as you, and I just can't make a case for buying Foden for one of those options right now. So my personal opinion is to not do it and keep your midfield 5. Even with the recent performances, would you still bench Hwang over Saka? Yes. Should I transfer out Hwang Hee-chan or can I save the transfer? Like I just said, I'd save the transfer. Happy New Year, Zaid. Is Lascelles confirmed out? No. Eddie Howe said there's a chance he's going to return from injury this week. So he's potentially available in Game Week 20, but even if he is, will he start? I'm not so sure. If he starts, I think Liverpool will score multiple goals anyway. And also, would you keep Darwin over Alvarez? No. Darwin could become a decent option when Salah's unavailable and get more starts and minutes as a result, but Darwin is just a frustration and I don't want to go back there personally. Start Colwell or transfer Trent? Transfer Trent in. Archer to Alvarez and Alvarez captain. I wouldn't captain Alvarez personally. I'm going to keep saying this. If you want to go for it, back your gut. Don't let me discourage you. But Yeah, in terms of the transfer, I do like it. What are your plans for getting AFCON and Asian players back? I mean, I think it's quite simple. Of course, if I were to bring in Haaland in Gameweek 21 or 22, that's where things become trickier and it might become an issue. But it might be just a case of picking between Salah or Son, and it all depends on how far these countries go and a few other factors, like if Liverpool reach the Carabao Cup final, do they blank in Gameweek 26? Do they reach the FA Cup quarter-final and potentially blank in Gameweek 29? If that's the case, it might have to be Son back in, while Salah is avoided up until Gameweek 30 or beyond. So things can change very quickly. Bowen or Foden, I've picked all day long, mate. Bowen. I'm not going to answer that again. I keep on saying that and I keep on answering it. Not City, because I don't have any other options. Probably Villa, if anything, would be my my watch. Thank you, Mohammed. Likewise to you. I hope you have a great year with your family and friends. I'm captaining Watkins or Don. Who's Don? Solanke? Dominic Solanke? Yeah, Watkins would be my preference. Bench Solanke or Diaby? I'd bench Diaby. Start Solanke or Cash? Start Solanke. Nope, I don't think so. If I see anything, I'll let you know. And also encourage you, if you see anything, to put a link in the live chat. Let's see, I'm having a look now on Twitter. Yeah, a lot of people are using the Watkins hat-trick, his birthday, as an excuse to captain him, and maybe I'm just going to do that. You know, just no logic behind captaincy choices, just vibes. But yeah, I don't see anything on Twitter. If you see anything about any league lineups, be sure to let me know. Put a link in the live chat, and we can go through it. You think Gusto starts? Yes. Solanke, Saka, Palmer, and Cuckoo bench. In Cuckoo, I'd bench him. My bench is Martinez, Saliba, Colwill, Raul Jimenez. Should I bench boost? It's a good bench, to be fair. I think Martinez and Saliba can keep clean sheets. Jimenez, not really a big fan of that. But Colwill, yeah. It's a decent bench. I think it could do relatively well. Nunez to Solanke from -4. I don't think I'd take a -4. And I also said this last week, by the way, when Solanke had Fulham. And I backed Darwin to start and to do well against Burnley, which he did. And he outscored him. He outscored Solanke. I might say something similar here and say don't take the -4 hit. It will pay off long term, but I'm just thinking about, could you maybe save the -4 hit and do it for free next week or the one after? Bench Solanke or Diaby? I said this, mate. I'd bench Diaby. I really don't want to captain Salah as he's playing against the team I support. I get that. I've had no issues in the past doing it because I kind of looked at it and thinking, at least I gained something from a bad situation. I captained Vardy when he got 15 points against my club. It is the way it is. I mean, did I say I'm against Foden? I've been saying to people Foden's a good option this week, probably the 4th or 5th best captaincy option. But if you're asking me Bowen or Foden, why would I pick Foden when he has significantly less FPL points, way fewer goals, the underlying numbers are worse? Bowen is just so consistent. So, I mean, I'm not going to just say Foden for the sake of it. Is Gordon to Bowen a good move? Yes, it definitely is. Gordon straight to Foden. Bench Trippier, sell him next week. Good moves. I'm absolutely on board with it. Sell sells to Trent or Estepinian. Trent is way better. Just go for Trent. Thank you for answering. It's not stupid questions. I appreciate them. And also have a good new year. I hope you enjoy it with your family and friends. Bench Hwang or Jackson? Bench Jackson. Mikalenko versus Trippier, who is better? This week, Mikalenko. Start Jesus or Diaby? I'd start Jesus. Would I? Would I actually? I'd start Diaby. I'm really being tempted by the Alvarez captain. Exactly. Go for your gut, back your gut, and see how it goes. Bench 1, Gabriel, Trent, Konsa, and Borro. I'd bench Borro. Bench 1 of Palmer and Cuckoo Bowen. I'd bench in Cuckoo. Bench Gabriel or Colwill. I'd bench Colwill. Start Sinchenko or Borro? Sinchenko. Bench 1, I covered. Is Bowen the best mid to bring in this week? It's not just a question of this week, though. It's a long-term thing. So, yeah, Man City midfielders like Foden will probably outscore Bowen this week, at least on paper. but I'd rather have Bowen in the long term. 11 goals for the season, 2 assists, over 100 FPL points. Only Son and Salah have more. He's the best replacement for those two options I just mentioned, so I'd rather go for Bowen. It's just as simple as that. Who to start, Hwang or Solanke? Good question. I'd go for Solanke. Bench Solanke, Darwin, or Kudus. I'd probably bench Darwin, but Kudus is a bit of a doubt. You'll either start or not play at all. That's my take on it. You'd be very unfortunate if Kudus was on the bench, came on for a one-pointer. It's possible with this African Cup of Nations problem that David Moyes is experiencing. Thank you, Punjabi. As he says, let's get this stream to as many likes as possible. We are currently on 152, so thank you to those that have helped us reach over 150. Let's now get this stream to 200 likes. That would be massively appreciated, to say the least. We are getting close to the deadline, 18 minutes away, and we're 48 likes away. So let's be sure to get to 200, and that'd be another great milestone ticked off. And we're also making progress towards 23,000 subscribers. We already have 22,112. So let's be sure to keep on pushing in that regard as well. Also, we're getting to 60 members and patrons. So thank you very much to those that have signed up. I gifted 10 memberships as well on Christmas Eve in the reaction stream. And I think once every month, I'll be gifting memberships to people who are watching. Does rainy days affect Arsenal performances? You can't say they affect Arsenal performances. They affect everybody. Obviously, there could be a question of certain teams watering their pitch and then having specific studs. And of course, that helps their balance. But that's always been a thing. You know, you can't use that as an excuse. Everyone will be experienced by rain. So definitely not a thing. You can't control the weather. What's the best forward? Would you pick max 6.2 million money? Chris Wood is probably the best. Archer or Gordon, who to start? Gordon. Who do you like more? Is Stupinian or is Saliba? Saliba still. I've captained Foden and the vices on Watkins. Absolutely fine. 2 of the best captaincy options this week. I wish you the best of luck. All I'll say is back your gut and don't change your mind based on what other people say. Wildcard team Dylan, it's on my channel. Check out the best wildcard team video. With Erling Haaland not available now, I would go for either Nkuku or Alvarez. And my preference right now would be Alvarez. Transferring one of Moreno, Walker, or Stupinian. Moreno. What are the chances of Cash starting? Almost 50%. I'd probably say 40%, personally. Start 1, Gabriel, Gusto, Cash. Gabriel. I buy Foden for Gordon. Is that okay? Yes, it's more than okay. It's a good move. Captain Watkins or Alvarez? Watkins. Lulian says, which 2 players would you pick? This week, I'd go for Gabriel and Walker. No leaks as far as I'm aware, but I also can't really check Twitter at the moment. Palmer or Hwang? I'd probably go for Palmer, but I'm really conflicted about that one. Hey Dylan, why Salah captain over Watkins? Better form and data? Well, that's one of it. Watkins has only returned once in his last 5. You could argue that he's overdue. Burnley is a better fixture than Newcastle, but you know what? Let me actually just show you because, you know, I think it's worth highlighting it on screen as well. If we actually have a look here, we're going to have a look at team stats. So let's make this more accessible. All right, so let's go to expected goals conceded, and we're going to go for the last 5 game weeks. Let's see. Oh, that's not even working. I mean, it's just a color anyway. Who cares? So, over the last 5 game weeks, and of course, you can always cherry pick stats the way you want, but this is a big trend. Since Dubravka's come into the team, after Newcastle have picked up more injury problems, and they're rushing players back because they still aren't fully fit, but they don't have numbers. Newcastle, their expected goals conceded is 12.7. Spurs are actually second with 10.9. Forest are third with 9.2. But look at the difference between Newcastle and the rest of the league in terms of total expected goals conceded. Then you look at Burnley, and they're kind of mid-table-ish. 8 expected goals conceded. And of course, there's more factors to, you know, take into consideration. Let's actually look at goals or expected goals, which, to be honest, look, football's not played on paper. XG, expected assists, XGI, blah, blah, blah. Who cares? But I do think they give... they do kind of show trends, and they do show what could happen in the future, which players and teams are underperforming, overperforming, and that does show you how sustainable certain things are. But look, Newcastle are top here. Let's actually compare Liverpool with Aston Villa. And Aston Villa are actually quite low down in this list with 6.5 XG over the last 5 game weeks, whilst Liverpool are higher with 8. Not a huge difference, but still enough, and plenty of teams between them as well. But yeah, I think it's also worth mentioning. Now, I think Newcastle will focus entirely on defending against Liverpool, as they have done in the last couple of seasons, especially at Anfield. And that's the only chance Newcastle have of getting any result. And you saw what Man United did recently, getting a draw at Anfield. Arsenal also did something similar, but they didn't defend that deeply. They played a different way. But Newcastle can get a result by sitting back very deep and just covering every space possible. So look, it's a difficult one, but based on recent data, I would say Newcastle is a very plum fixture, to say the least. I kept Walker, Alvarez for double, then was going Pedro and back to Watkins. Double still not come. Lesson learned. That's football, that's FPL. I mean, yeah, it can be full of situations like that, in my opinion. Let's now go back to my team. We do have less than 13 minutes left. Let's get this video to 200 likes. Also, be sure to check out the channel I put in the description. Not in the description, sorry. I did put it in the live chat a few times. Be sure to get this channel to 200 subscribers. 200 subscribers. I can't even speak English today. 500 subscribers. Jesus Christ. So be sure to check out that channel for entertainment. Not just in terms of being informed on entertainment, but being entertained yourselves in the process. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, I'm kind of getting tempted by different things, captaining an Ollie Watkins, going for stuff like that, making a transfer. But I think I'm going to roll. The only thing that will be left to decide is the captaincy. And it could be a late switch at the very end. Foden or Odegaard, considering double game at 25. I'd go for Foden. Solanke or Palmer and Borro or Gabriel need help. I'd go for Solanke and I'd go for Gabriel. Who to start, Gordon or Ferguson? I would go for Ferguson and I would also go for Turner. Thoughts on Salah to Foden? I have Son and Jackson to ship out next game week. Salah to Foden, I just still do it next week, mate. I wouldn't do it this week. Captain Foden or Alvarez? Foden. Sell Gordon to Palmer or roll the transfer? I'd sell Gordon to Palmer. Yeah, I'd probably do it. Adel and Son to Foden and captain? No. I wouldn't sell Son this week. Palmer or Solanke? Solanke, we've covered this 10 times, I'm not going to lie. Bench Gabriel, Borro or Stupinian? I'd bench a Stupinian. Borro or Gabriel? I'd start Gabriel this week. Thank you, Ethan. Tsimikas to Trent to bench Colwell or Gabriel. I have Borro as the third defender or Adingra to Bowen, then bench Solanke. Doing both would be a -4. Yes, I'd do Tsimikas to Trent and I'd bench Colwell or Adingra to Bowen. Yeah, don't bench Solanke this week. I would recommend Bowen. You know what? Out of the options you're mentioning, I think this week I'd do Adingra to Bowen, Ethan. Then next week, I'd bring in Trent. That's what I would do and avoid the -4 here. Yeah, 10 minutes to lock in. Captaincy decision. Currently on Salah, but I am very tempted by a late switch. Lager says Watkins. Maybe. Play Colwell or Gay. Colwell. Is a -4 needed and tips? No, it's not needed. Your starting 11 is absolutely fine. I'm not sure what transfers you're looking to make, but this week, it's absolutely fine. Alfred says start Gordon, Mikalenko or Gusto. I would go for Mikalenko or Gusto. My personal preference would be Mikalenko. I don't think Cash starts. And even if he did, he'd find a way to troll you. Please captain, Son or Alvarez? Son. Who's a better captaincy option? I'd go for Foden, Solanke or Gordon to start. Solanke all day long for me. If Dylan's captaining Watkins, I'm going to switch my captain. Wow. Thank you. For captaincy, I meant for Alvarez. If you had him, would you captain him over Salah? No. I have a free change. Should I change Gordon and get in Elanga? Elanga's been good this season, but I still think there are better options elsewhere. No Goldhead, because I also have plans to get rid of Salah and Son next week, and I'm quite happy with my midfield. I mean, who would I sell to get Foden? Archer to Alvarez, yeah, it's great, but then who do I bench? And I don't want to bench Solanke. Watkins, no. I'm not going to bench Saka despite his poor form recently. So it's kind of a difficult thing to decide on. Maybe I'd bring in Alvarez and bench Palmer. I'd be considering it, but it's still not something that really stands out to me. I'd rather have 2 free transfers next week more information, and I can always bring in Man City players later on. And also with Alvarez, he'd be a transfer waiting to happen. Once Haaland's back, Alvarez would be shipped off. So I'm kind of looking at it, and I don't want two, low maintenance transfer or high maintenance transfers. I've already made a few of them recently, and it's paid off. I bought in the likes of Son. He's done really well for me. I sold Gordon for -4, blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to make too many of them. There has to be a balance, in my opinion. Start Gordon, Trippier, or Tarkowski, any two. I would start Gordon and Tarkowski. Bowen, Palmer, Salah, Son, Hwang Hee-chan. Do I need to make a transfer? You can save. You can. If you were to make a move, it would be Hwang Hee-chan out for Foden. Potential double game week for Man City. Good fixtures, especially this week. Hwang Hee-chan goes off to the Asian Cup. That makes sense from that point of view because you also have Salah and Son, and you need to get rid of these players at some stage anyway. So Hwang Hee-chan to Foden would be the only move I'd consider, but you don't need to. Captain, Palmer, Watkins, Alvarez, Son. It's between Watkins and Son there for me. Surely you start Cash, but does he start? That's the big question. Trust me, Watkins and Foden are just not your guy. I disagree. Foden is in UCL Fantasy, just not in FPL. I don't know, I personally think Saka's an easy sell at the moment, isn't reflecting his price. Yeah, look, I agree, Saka's been poor, but football changes very quickly, There's been multiple examples over the years of players that have been really good FPL options. They go for a rough patch, people sell them, and then they do really well. It just happens. It's the way of the game. The expected goals conceded is strange. Why Arsenal Liverpool so high? Yeah, over the last few weeks, it might be very high, but I think still Arsenal have underperformed defensively. I really do. Thank you, Lager. Thanks for a great year with great FPL content as always. Keep it up, brother. Thank you, Lager. It's always appreciated, and it's always a pleasure talking to you on Discord and also on here. Captain Trent, good shout. I'm not going for it myself, but it's a good shout. Gordon to Foden or roll the transfer. I'd go for Foden. Sold Trippier for Trent this week. W. It's a W for sure. Trippier or Cash? Cash. Cash or Gordon? I'd go for Cash, but I wouldn't back him to start, really. It's just kind of a hope and see what he can do. Will Neil Mopai start? Yes. Foden captain. I'm not against it, but I think there are better options. And Colwell or Borro, who to play? I would go for... I'd go for Borro. Are you going Watkins captain? Maybe. Have Arsenal and Liverpool been that likely to concede? No, and they have the best defences this season. I still think Arsenal's is better, but Liverpool have conceded fewer. Hola Dylan, ¿a quién ves mejor de capitán, Álvarez o Salah? Yo veo mejor a Salah. Saka to Foden for a -4? No. Yeah, thank you very much, Punjabi, for moderating it. Too much spamming, you're not going to get answered. Areola or Raya? Raya. Gabriel have Raya or Gordon? Gabriel. Archer to Alvarez or Gordon to Bowen? Gordon to Bowen. Bench 1, Saka, Richarlison, Palmer, Solanke. Probably Richarlison, but it's not ideal. Play Palmer or Diaby? Yeah, I'd probably play Palmer too, but it's a close one. Yeah, don't forget to predict in Discord. Yeah, exactly that. Bench 1, Zinchenko, Palmer, Bowen or Pedro Porro. I would bench Pedro Porro. Archer to Alvarez or Gordon to Bowen, I've covered. Captain Bowen, absolutely fine. Good luck. We've got 5 minutes left, so be sure to lock in your teams. Start 1, Colwell or Share? Colwell. Play Areola or Petrovic? I would play Petrovic. Dylan, would you do Trippier to Alex Moreno? I would make the transfer. You should captain Saliba. Yeah, no, I'm not that dumb. I'm not that deluded. Darwin to Alvarez? Yes. Hi, let's captain Alvarez for a differential. Up to you lot. I mean, if you're asking other people to captain him, he's not going to become a differential, but I get what you're saying. Ariel or Turner? Turner. I have the exact same team, but Hwang instead of Palmer. Good luck. Start 2, Palmer, Martinelli, Bowen. I would go for Bowen and Palmer. Mitchell or Colwell? I'd go for Colwell. So Conte over Gabriel? Yes, but Gabriel's a great record against Fulham, so it's up to you. The only reason I'm captaining Watkins is because it's his birthday. Yeah, I guess so. I might just captain him, honestly, I just don't like the guy anyway, so either I jinx him or I get points and then the bad history is put behind us and we can move on. It's a win-win either way. So, I mean, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who to captain? Yeah, I think the lack of captaincy returns recently has maybe left us a lot, doubting ourselves in terms of these decisions. That's quite natural. And there's a lot of different options this week. It's not a standout, I think. Newcastle it's still a tough game when they're on their day, they're playing well, and they're defensively organized. But Salah has a good record against the Toon. He does, and he can still do something against them. So, yeah, we've got less than 3 minutes now. We're close to 3 minutes until the deadline. Just a matter of seconds there. But yeah, let's be sure to get this stream to 200 likes. We are 21 away from that. I'm going to answer the super chat very quickly before locking in my team. So let me just get this up on screen. So Aranya says, can't afford Gordon to Foden. Semenyo to Alvarez with 1 free transfer. Should I get one of them and another non-player or some other player like Bernardo Silva? Yeah, I can see what you mean. I mean, with Bernardo, that could pay off this week, Aranya, but to be honest with you, I wouldn't want Bernardo Silva long-term, so that would be a transfer waiting to happen, and in turn, that could be a -4 hit later down the line, rather than taking a -4 hit now. So if you really want a Man City player, I'd go for Alvarez or Foden for a -4 this week, and my preference would be Foden. Yeah, Lager. I mean, you'd think so, wouldn't you? You really would. But I don't know. I honestly don't. You know what? I might just captain Watkins. You know what? I really don't care at this point. I might just go for him. I'm sick to death of this guy. Which is why I shouldn't captain him. But yeah, I think Watkins, I'm just going to captain him. Birthday tax. Happy birthday, Watkins. Do something, you bloody bastard. Yeah, so Watkins, Salah, Son are my free captaincy considerations for me. Bowen and Solanke are outside shout. Same with Trent. But I think I'm just going to go for Watkins and just hope for the best there. I think you lot have talked me into it. Let's see. I'm not going to blame you if it goes wrong. I'm going to blame myself for trusting that bloody prick. If you had Alvarez, would you captain him? I wouldn't personally, but he is a good shout. Start Jimenez or Douglas Luiz. I'd go for Douglas Luiz. My captain right now is Watkins, but honestly, I could just switch back to Salah. Who knows? Captain who? Salah, Son or Watkins? Take your pick there. Game over, says Lager. Yeah, game over. Haaland to Alvarez and Gordon to Son for a -4. Worth it? No, because Son is literally a 1-week punt for you, mate, and you're going to sell him next week or beyond. So don't buy Son for a -4 hit now. I did it a few weeks ago, and it has paid off, but I think with 1 week to go against Bournemouth, who are the most informed team in the league, it doesn't make much sense. Bench 1, Borro or Palmer? I'd bench Borro. Thank you, Wasting. I mean, look, I know it might seem like I'm a jinx, but it genuinely isn't. It's just the captaincy this season has been awful. It's been very weird and strange to predict. Watkins the troll. Yeah, honestly, I don't know at this point. I honestly don't know. Gabriel Consa, please. Gabriel Consa. I go for Consa. Any spam questions won't be answered, mate. It's as simple as that. Villa a good team at home. Burnley are bad away. Simple as. Yeah, that is true, but Newcastle also terrible away from home. Smoke on Watkins' head right now. Yeah, that is true. That is true. Honestly, who knows at this point? Who knows? I might just change it back to Salah. We've got 10 seconds left. Should I go for Salah or Watkins? Who cares at this point? Who actually cares? Yeah, I think it's too late anyway. So Watkins is my captain. Yeah, it's just too late, mate. It's too late. Watkins is my captain. There you go. I've ruined a good captaincy option. You're welcome. Salah is going to do really well now. So enjoy. Enjoy it. Honestly, I think I'm just going to flip a coin from now on with the captaincy. Captain Watkins as soon as you did. Wow. Most people would avoid it with my history, not just with the captaincy this season, but also with Watkins. It's not even a love-hate relationship. It's just pure hate. Let's see. It's a toxic one. Hopefully we can get past it and move on. Bench 1, like I said, I would have benched Borro. Sol Tavernier to Bowen and Captain Watkins. Hope it goes well. Same to you, Sudindra. Watkins doing well would be great for both of us. And of course, a great way to celebrate his birthday. Good luck, Dylan, and everyone Happy New Year too. Likewise, it's kind of strange that my last captain of 2023 is Ollie Watkins. Like Unai Emery. 39 points. Absolute moron. When Son and Salah go for their respective cups, do you think it's a good idea to bring in Wang Hee-chan? Yeah, no. Sorry, no. Because Wang Hee-chan is also going off to the Asian Cup. He's going off to... He's basically in the same country of Son, South Korea. Yeah, so no. The answer is simply no. If you want replacements, Foden, Odegaard... Diogo Jota can enter our thinking, Pascal Gross, Richarlison, but No, Hwang Yi-chan is also part of the same issue. Yeah, we are locked in. I think you should say sod it, go Son. Well, he was my original captain, but Bournemouth is also quite tricky, actually. They're the most informed team in the league recently. Yes, I think Spurs will score goals and Son will do well, but I don't think his ceiling is as high as Watkins or Salah, dare I say. Wow, all right, Wei-Sing, calm down. Great choice, Dylan, good luck. Well, it's only a great choice if he hauls, right? Yeah, let's wait and see. Oh gosh, here we go together. Yeah, just be prepared for the blank, mate. Let's be prepared. Will Cash start? I mean, there's a chance. I'd say 40%. I don't think he will, but let's wait and see. Watkins, thanks, Dylan. Yeah, I mean, thank you very much for tuning in. I've captain Foden and vice-captain Salah. Biggest gamble taken. Best of luck, Dylan. Well, look, this season, the most popular captaincy choice, and it is Salah this week, they have pretty much flopped most of the time. So, yeah, of course. But look, if Salah hauls and Watkins does better, I wouldn't mind that. I captain Wood. Not sure about that, mate. I did say he's a skip in my last trans tips video, but good luck. Captain Watkins too, because I'm not captaining most popular captain. Last time I captained Trent instead of Salah. Yeah, and the time before that, I captained... I mean, who do I... I've lost count at this point, but the captaincy record is dreadful. I had Watkins captain all week, but changed to Salah last second. Wow, yeah, thank you. Should I have started Senesi over Isak? There's not really much of a difference. I think both will blank. Don't worry, bro, you're due. Watkins will come through for us this week. You'd hope so. It could be a game-changing moment, either good or bad. Thanks for all the help, Dylan, and Happy New Year. Likewise, Damilola, thank you very much. I wish you the best. Same with Mickey. Wishing you continued success into the new year. Been watching since January 2021. Best FPL YouTuber. Thank you. I actually started the year before that in January 2020. So, yeah, it's been... wow, it'd be almost 4 years now of making videos and streams. It's absolutely ridiculous. Time flies. Watkins, let's see. Yeah, predictions, we'll go through that now, and then we'll go through your comments to wrap up the stream. I captain Watkins in the end. Just banter, birthday tax, overdue tax, sick of popular captains doing crap. Quite a few taxes, actually. Let's go through the fixtures and go through the predictions. So Luton Town versus Chelsea. I'm going to go for a draw. I'm going to go for 1-1 Luton Town Chelsea. Aston Villa Burnley. I'm going to go for 3-0 Aston Villa. Crystal Palace Brentford. Oh, la la. I'm going to go for 2-1. No, I'm going to go for 1-1 Crystal Palace Brentford. I'm kind of in two minds. I also don't like making the same prediction for several games. You know what? I'm going to go for 2-1 Crystal Palace. Man City Sheffield United. 3-0. 3-0 Man City. Wolves Everton. I'm going to go for 2-1 Wolves. Nottingham Forest Man United. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Fulham Arsenal. 2-0 Arsenal. Spurs Bournemouth. I'm going to go for 3-2 Bournemouth. Liverpool Newcastle. Liverpool Newcastle. 2-0 Liverpool. And West Ham Brighton. 2-1 West Ham. Some odd predictions in there. I've gone for a Man United draw. I've gone for Bournemouth to win. Chelsea to draw. Man City, you know what? I think I'd probably go for... yeah, 3 or 4-0. I'm kind of in two minds about that one. Yeah, I'm going to go for 4-0. 4-0 Man City. Yeah, 4-0, why not? I mean, I'll probably change it in the Discord server, but those are my rough predictions for the week. And let's now go back to my team. So you can see it. I captain Watkins. What am I thinking? And by the way, a huge shout out goes to Lager for gifting 5 memberships. That's massively appreciated, mate. I will be gifting more memberships in the future. I gifted 10 on Christmas Eve, and I'll be looking to do even more next week. So thank you, Lager. That's massively appreciated. You didn't have to do that. And the members now are Let's Talk Vinyl, Venom, Dao Lamba Gatpo, and Richard Milichip. So thank you very much there, Lager. And also, yeah, for the new members, Lager's the one to thank, not me. Thank you, Dylan, and lots of love from the poll. Happy New Year and predictions. Yes, likewise to you, Wally. We went through the predictions. Let me know what you think, and I wish you the best as well. Same with Alan. And yeah, Venom, enjoy the membership courtesy of Lager. I did goalkeeper to Raya and Trippier to Consa. Thoughts could have went Moreno, but not sure. Yeah, Dean should be back in a month's time, you'd say. But Alex Moreno, in the meanwhile, could win back his spot, because remember, Alex Moreno was starting to become Unai Emery's preferred left back. Happy New Year, Sing, in advance, of course. We still have a little bit left of the year, but it honestly will go so quickly. No, Chelsea have to win that. Yeah, I mean, they have to win it, but will they? I don't know. It's just Luton Town have been good recently. They drew against Liverpool. They gave Man City and Arsenal really tough games, and they've been quite competitive recently. Thanks, Dylan, and Happy New Year. Likewise, Vigard. Thanks for the chat, Dylan. All the best. Likewise, Clifford. Is Hwang Hee-chan injured? He's in training. He trained yesterday. He's available for selection, confirmed by Wolves manager Gary O'Neill. Who did you captain? I went for Watkins. Yeah, same here, mate. Birthday tax, overdue. Burnley is also a great fixture still. The way they played against Liverpool, they should have lost by more. So, yeah, I went for Watkins for those reasons. And also, what other reason did I go for him? Also, the popular captaincy choice. I'm sick to death of that. So I went for a differential. Just type in FPL Away Kits Chrome extension Dion, and as a result, you can add it to your browser, either Google Chrome, Brave, or any other Google Chrome browser or powered browser. And yeah, it's just quite simple. Watkins carried my team many game weeks when others blanked. Well, in my case, he's been the thorn of my side. Basically, with Watkins, my decision to sell him, let's put it that way, I'll exempt him a little bit from the blame, has cost me around 30 to 40 points this season. So, yeah, I've got a bad history of him. Captaining him as well a few weeks ago cost me 2. So I'm kind of 40, 50 points down due to Watkins. So I'm kind of hoping for some redemption here. A great way to end the year. 61 points last week thanks to the Hwang Hee-chan and Trent captaincy. That's pretty good, to be honest. Good luck, Dylan, and a Happy New Year. What are your early thoughts for next game week? Thank you, Jacob. Likewise to you. Early thoughts for next game week? Difficult because there's quite a long gap and a lot could change in the FA Cup. We can get injuries in this game week and, of course, during next week. And we've got some key players coming back, potentially, like Haaland and De Bruyne. Doku, Stones could also be an option. Will you sell Salah and Son immediately, Dylan? Potentially. I've got 2 free transfers now, and that gives me a bit of a luxury. Selling both of them and getting Haaland back would involve a -4 hit, but maybe I would delay that move by another week and just focus on making 2 free transfers. Thank you, Jazabi. Likewise to you. I wish you all the best of luck in the new year. Yeah, let's talk venue. Enjoy it, mate. Yeah, Lager, obviously a legend for that. Twister Parkypus's predictions. Luton 1-1, Villa 2-0, Palace 1-1, City 3-0, 1-0 Everton, 2-1 United, 2-0 Arsenal, 2-1 Spurs, 2-1 Liverpool, and 2-2. Good predictions. They're quite similar to mine, but there's like a goal maybe the other way and some different results. But yeah, I think we're kind of a similar mind there. The only one where we're completely different is Wolves-Everton. But yeah, I'm kind of in 2 minds about it too. Yeah, I did the same, Dylan. The birthday, overdue, home game, and differential were all factors in me captaining him. I have captained him once before and it paid off. Well, I'm hoping you're the good luck charm and we can both enjoy the points. Thank you, Lager. Once again, massively appreciated, mate. He is in my team since Game Week 1. Same, but I got rid of him in Game Week 6. Massive fail. And I also sold him when he faced Bournemouth and he was a doubt. What's everyone's thoughts on Nkunku starting today? I think he will, but there is also a quick turnaround and he just came back from a long-term injury, so it would not surprise me at all to see him benched. But with Palmer and Sterling back in the equation, Jackson could start yet again and fail to deliver as usual. And yeah, Watkins' redemption arc begins now. Scoring of his back, misguided header, turning into own goal, etc. Let's wait and see. Promise me to not captain Watkins again if he gets a red card tonight. Not even just that, if he blanks, then yeah, I don't think I'll ever captain him again. It's last chance saloon for Ollie Watkins in terms of captaincy. But I'm going to keep him in my team and just jinx him. I'm from Indonesia. I like your content. Thank you very much, Pandu. There's actually a lot of people who watch FPL or play FPL from Indonesia, so big up. Will Pau Torres start? I don't think so. Based on what Unai Emery said yesterday, he said Pau Torres is not fully fit. Deadly for you too says, good, or game week, thanks Dylan, or get well. I'm not sure what the GW stands for, but that's just me. Happy New Year, thank you very much, and Happy New Year to you as well. I did Archer to Alvarez, playing 3-4-3. My captain is Trent, vice is Salah. We'll have 2 free transfers in Game Week 21. all the best of luck. Deadly for you too. I wish you all the best, mate. I hope not, Trenix. I probably will log off and you'll never see me again. I listed the reasons already, Ashish. Watkins, birthday tax, overdue. I want a differential captain. I'm sick to death of going for the most popular choices and then failing constantly. And yeah, I still anticipate a fairly tight game between Liverpool and Newcastle. I think Newcastle will park the bus and be a bit frustrating at times. And I'm hoping that's the case, actually. Thank you, Beardy. Good to see you as always. Sorry, one said Spurs, Brentford. Also, yeah, I saw what you meant anyway. I said Spurs 2-1 anyway. Do you think the Super League will happen? No, because only, Napoli are open to it, Barcelona, Real Madrid. I don't think it'll happen now. In the future, yes, I would envision it happening, but not right now. Smash the likes, people. Thank you, Twister Parky. We are 2 likes away from 200, so come on. Let me know who's going to become the 200th liker. And we still have over 130 people watching, even after the deadline. So I appreciate everyone who's been sticking around, especially the OG members, the channel members, and patrons. No, I don't think Alvarez will be benched, but I'd be very happy if he was. Predict the AFCON final. I do not know enough about African football to predict that, to be quite honest with you. Based on the last World Cup, you'd envision Morocco going quite far, but things change very quickly, don't they? So I'd say Morocco will go far. I heard Egypt aren't that good. And of course, they are the record holders, or they've won the AFCON the most times. But yeah, I don't know. Nigeria, they should have a great team, shouldn't they? They've got some top quality players in there, but yeah, I'd say, you know what, off the top of my head, I'd say Morocco and Nigeria, but I don't know the groups. I don't know the possible, quarterfinal opponents and stuff and the way the draw is. But I'd say Morocco and Nigeria spring to mind. Waiting for City to concede a goal in the most comedic manner and lose the clean sheet. I'd love it, but I'll be honest, I don't think that'll happen. Is Super Chat only possible with GPay? I honestly have no idea, Twister Parky. I've never sent in a Super Chat myself. Yeah, you don't have to anyway, Twister Parky, of course. But yeah, I think there should be another way to do it. It is YouTube, though, so wouldn't surprise me if they made it difficult. One of the popular captains gets a 17-pointer and the other blanks. Yeah, and I'm hoping Salah. If I had to pick, I'd rather Salah blanked. As for me, I hope it's Granger. Dion says, Happy New Year, mate, and all the best. Captain Watkins as well. Will it make sense to keep one of Salah and Son while they're away? Yes, if you're happy with the rest of your squad and your starting 11 looks good every single week, then yeah, it would still make sense. But yeah, I think Salah would be the one to sell because he's just far too expensive to keep on your bench for potentially not just up until Gameweek 25, but remember, Liverpool could blank in Gameweek 26 if they reach the Carabao Cup final. So Salah could become an option by Gameweek 27. Are you going to keep a 13 million midfielder, which could be his price by then? He's currently for 13.3. Will you keep a midfielder that expensive for 7 game weeks or 5, 6 game weeks while he's blanking most of the time? Transfer window is going to be crazy, yes, and I'm hoping my club is active. Played Malpai over Solanke. I think that's a mistake. I think Solanke being benched this week is a mistake, but good luck. Would you have had Garnacho or Bernardo Silva this week? Bernardo Silva. Barca and Madrid are only open to it because they are in dire need of money. Yes, and they also gain a lot of money from that. I don't trust anything spearheaded by Florentino Perez or Madrid and Barca. Then again, I don't trust UEFA, FIFA, the FA, or any of these organizations. I tried earlier but could not see any other options. Then maybe you're right, Twister Parky. I'm not sure how it works, to be honest, but don't worry about it. Yes, Dylan, you did the Watkins captaincy as well. You might not be laughing if he blanks, and then you're going to blame me and say you ruined my captaincy. 200 plus likes, thank you all. Thank you, Sing. A great way to end the year with over 200 likes. We've smashed that record. I say record. We smashed that milestone, or we smashed that goal. I think our record is like 600, 700 likes, and that's in the UCL fantasy stream. So still a way to go to reach those objectives in FPL. But you never know. Maybe in next year's the year. Okay, buddy, all the best. Is Haaland a must sell? Not necessarily. And if you still have him now heading into Game Week 21, just wait for more information. Haaland should be back by Game Week 21 or 22. Yeah, PayPal too, I think. Yeah, I don't know how YouTube works, to be honest, but hopefully it's not too complicated. I just had the follow my mind, so I captained Son ahead of Alvarez. Yeah, I would have gone for Son over Alvarez too, and I'm predicting a high-scoring game there. I'll be honest, Tobago, I don't watch FPL content anymore. I also want to kind of be different, do my own thing, and not be influenced by what other people are doing. I did watch stuff before, And my favorite, or at least the one that first maybe got me into FPL in a way, was FPL Tips. Just kind of short, concise, good graphics, simple, straight to the point. The opposite of me. The opposite of me, of course. But yeah, he's probably the OG. I'm going to say him. Pretty underrated nowadays, I'd say. And then, yeah, I've listed a few before that I like. Black Box and Planet FPL. They'd be like the top 3, I think, overall. Yeah, I think those would be the top 3, but I don't watch anything really nowadays. Least favorite, I don't really have a least favorite, but yeah, I'd say those 3 are pretty much, 3 of the best channels out there. Arsenal should sign Tony, says Venom. Yeah. I mean, Arsenal need a different option, a plan B. But look, I also think there's a lot of players underperforming. There's some big chances being missed, and that needs to change. Areola versus Vicario this week. I would have gone for Areola, but I don't think either keep a clean sheet. Very good, Richard. Enjoy the membership gifted by Lager. Osimhen to Chelsea, says Wayseng. Yeah. I mean, he replied to something, didn't he? I saw that. Good luck. Madrid got more than enough. Yeah, but well, they still have a lot of debt, but of course, overall they have a lot. Barcelona are the ones that really are struggling. I'll sell Salah next week, but I'll let his money on the bank, so it'll be easy to get him back. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. It would be great, Venom. I don't think Osimhen is the greatest technically, but in terms of pure finishers, he's one of the best out there. Also, very quick, strong. He's got the physicality needed, and I think at Arsenal he could do very well, but I don't think he'll go at Arsenal. I think Tony's more likely. Also on Celtic versus Rangers. Oh, they're playing, isn't it? Yeah, I saw that. I think both teams are kind of a bit iffy. If I'm not mistaken, Celtic are top, but not by much. I'd still probably back Celtic, but I don't know enough about recent form in terms of the last couple of games to really, guess that. Are Celtic at home? If so, I'm going to back them to win. We'll start a concert over Gabriel the right core. In terms of clean sheet chances, yes. I think Gabriel, though, is a great option against Fulham. He's got a great record against them. He scored 3 or 4 goals past Fulham. The Old Firm today. Did you check out the Liga Fantasy? Nope. Bowen last Salah, best Salah replacement? Yes, he is. Bowen captain. Your thoughts, says DRK34. He's in my top 5 to 10 captaincy options this week. He got 12 points in the reverse fixture, so I do like that. Son is off, but pre-deadline is Son a worse option, not playing down the middle? Slightly. I think he's a better option down the middle. But on the left-hand side, what you'll see is an increase in expected assists, chances created, and overall creativity. But he can still do well off the left. He hasn't scored, actually. He scored against Newcastle, but that was from a penalty. The rest have been assists, so that's also worth mentioning. He's still been a good transfer in for me, though. Hope you won't go fierce in the last day of 2023, says Wayseng. It all depends on Arsenal, mate. It all depends on Arsenal. Just get on with it, mate. Have a good game week and Happy New Year, Dylan. Your biggest fan from South Africa. Well, thank you very much. No fans, just people who watch the channel and who enjoy it sometimes. And those that don't, just welcome anyway. Would be interesting to see if Arteta could utilise Jesus as a Firmino-type player to bring Saka Martinelli into the game even more. Well, technically, that's what Jesus has done well since he's joined Arsenal, but he needs to finish some of these chances, Firmino wasn't a great goal scorer. He was, I can name thousands or hundreds of prolific strikers or more prolific strikers than Firmino, but Firmino still finished most of these easier chances that Jesus is missing, and Firmino did all the kind of dirty work with the pressing, which Jesus does. Look, Jesus is a quality player. I'd say he's a baller, but in terms of goal scoring, he's just not reliable. He simply isn't, and Arsenal need a reliable goal scorer and a different option in the forward line. Osimhen to Chelsea, just why? I don't know, but also you factor in the Chelsea striker curse, and when was the last good striker for Chelsea? Didier Drogba? Maybe there's Diego Costa's probably the last one, actually. Captain Foden, hope a miracle happens. Good luck. I wish you the best. We need to replace Salah and Son now. I'd replace one of them for sure, because you could be down to 10 men if you don't replace both of them. But yeah, I would replace one of them at least this week, but don't do it now. Wait a little bit, because there's going to be the FA Cup games in the 7th of January around that time, and the Gameweek 21 deadline will be a week after that. So don't make transfers just yet. I support Arsenal, unfortunately, but yeah, this is the. Can you even see it in the thing? Yeah, this is Arsenal, the third kit. So yeah, Luca Dean is injured. Maybe I should have started Cash. Yeah, but Luka Dean plays on the left-hand side, and it doesn't really have much of an impact on Cash starting. It would be Alex Moreno taking Dean's place. Konsa can still play right back, whilst Diego Carlos and Pau Torres start. Of course, Pau Torres could be unavailable, but Aston Villa could still go for Lenglet and Diego Carlos as the centre-backs. When will Salah leave for AFCON? He's leaving. This is his last game week, so he'll play against Newcastle, and then he's off to the African Cup of Nations. Yeah, sorry, we're saying it's just not. I'm sorry, it just isn't. Son's numbers are so good. Just saying Bruno's numbers are amazing for Salah or Son. Yeah. Yeah, in terms of to replace Salah or Son, I'd still look at Bowen, Odegaard, Saka if he fixes up, big if. But yeah, I'm not quite there yet on Bruno. Osimhen already signed a long-term contract. He did, but there might be something in his clause which allows him to go in the summer. We don't know that. And also, yeah, it just might be a way of thanking Napoli for what they've done for Osimhen's trajectory and career. And he'll still be sold anyway. Yeah, I agree, Venom. But of course, look, we're all entitled to our own opinions, but it's red. Come on, it is red. Even though Arsenal, over the years have been a bit, it's still red. Come on. Are Foden and Odegaard best Salah and Son replacements? They're two of the best, but I'd say Bowen is even better. If you don't have Bowen, he's the best by far. Isn't the deadline? Yeah, it's past the deadline, but some people are still tuning in, which I definitely appreciate. On a wild card, quite glad I saved it for before the international competitions. Oh yeah, 70k rank, my best so far. I mean, yeah, really good position to be in. 70k rank, you just played the wild card now, you're pretty well set up. The only downside is that you only have one free transfer next week, but your wild card now should easily solve that issue. Hey Dylan, should I captain Bernardo or Salah? I would have gone for Salah, but of course, yeah, the deadline did pass 23 minutes ago. Bruno's numbers only Salah and Son better. Yes, but he's been underperforming all season. The thing with Bruno is he'll deliver big returns in the odd game, like he did against Fulham a couple of months back, but he's going to blank more often than not, in my opinion. I'd still rather go for Odegaard, Bowen, and a few other options like Foden. Spurs looking for a centre-back. They have to. Not just one, they need two, in my opinion. But they've done, I wouldn't say well with all these injuries because they have struggled in terms of results, but they've played well. They should score more goals. They've missed some big chances. Even in games like Aston Villa, I think Spurs were the better team. But you need to take your chances. It's as simple as that. So, yeah, I think Spurs, look, they're a good team. They're on an upward trajectory. Under Conte, Mourinho, and Nuno Espirito Santo, you looked at them and thought, look, this is not sustainable. You might be getting results now, but it's going to catch up with you. With Ange Postecoglou, you see a long-term plan, and you can see them improving and becoming a solid team that can qualify for Champions League and maybe compete for trophies. But yeah, with Spurs, they play great football. And you have to say that they are very entertaining to watch, and that's something that has been missing for many years. Hi Dylan, I forgot the FPL deadline. Yeah, look, it's happened to me. If it wasn't for streams, I'd forget. I'd be sleeping right now. I would completely forget. So it is what it is. It's happened to all of us. I have a punt on McNeil and Doyle. Good luck, mate. I wish you the best. If you go through Chelsea's last good attacking signings, it was either Giroud or, if you don't really count him as he was more of a sub, then the player's Hazard. Yeah, and technically Hazard was signed in 2012-13 season after they won the Champions League. And apparently there was some kind of, I'm not going to go into all the details, but there are reports that he wanted to go Arsenal, but because of agents and stuff like that, some kind of dodgy dealings, he went to Chelsea. But yeah, I'd say Giroud was probably the last one. And look, with what he did as a star and super sub, you have to say he's probably the last one, to be honest. Osimhen does have a release clause of 120 to 140 million euros. Definitely doable for Chelsea, yes. But the thing is, they also need to adhere to financial fair play. But does financial fair play even, exist? Is it consistent? I don't think so. Yeah, I agree to Stupaki. Obviously, in the last 20 years, Chelsea have been the best club. Probably in the Premier League, you could argue. They've won it all. If not, maybe second. But yeah, come on. History is still important. And in the last couple of years, or at least in the last 2 years, Chelsea have been crap. So yeah, look, Chelsea are the second biggest club in London. Maybe third behind the Arsenal women's, but come on, they're not first. Leno, Sinchenko, Pedro Porro, Trent, Captain, Saka, Salah, Palmer, Son, Watkins, Solanke, Alvarez. Good team. Very good team. No problems with that whatsoever, except Leno, but he's still a good goalkeeper in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, it would have been Watkins. I captain Watkins myself. Yeah, I rolled the transfer. Otherwise, I would have brought in a Man City attacker or Alex Moreno at the back. Team that I missed the deadline. That's still very good. The only issue is Leno, like I said, for this week. And even then, if Arsenal don't finish their dinner, could be a clean sheet. Sterling and Nkunku benched. There you go. I did mention a possibility of Nkunku being benched, but I still thought he'd start, to be honest. I still did. And there you go. I was wrong. Sterling being benched as well, probably because of that mistake. I mean, yeah, that was unforgivable, what he did. Not passing it to Mr. Palmer. Chances of Spurs signing Todibo? I'm not so sure, but he has been heavily linked. It wouldn't surprise me. Todibo's been linked to many clubs in the Premier League. I'm pretty sure he's been linked to Arsenal, Chelsea, Man United over the years. It would be a fairly decent signing. Didn't really work out for him at Barcelona, but could be decent. Foden captain, your thoughts? He was in my top 5 options. Probably my favourite Man City option to captain this week. What are your New Year's Eve plans? Just like Christmas Eve, chill with family. Yeah, nothing special, I'd say. Watching films, watching comedies, having a good time, eating. I'm not going to say the other thing. Not smoking, no drugs, but yeah, just enjoy myself. Hopefully you do too. You like Kyle Walker as a pick? Not necessarily, but with the fixtures, a potential double game week soon, yeah, I'd say he's a fairly decent 4th or 5th defender. Yes, AJG. Yes, you do get a second wildcard today. I'm from Indonesia, still confused about who the best captain is. Well, sorry, I can't even speak. The deadline has passed, so it doesn't matter now, but I would have gone for Watkins over Alvarez. Surely Costa would be considered a successful Chelsea signing. Definitely. I think they signed him in 2014, or just before the 2014-15 season with Mourinho. So yeah, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, I think that's when they won the league. So or was it 2013-14? But yeah, I'd say Giroud was the last good signing for Chelsea in the offensive areas. You could also argue Palmer, actually, because he's doing well already, and, he's so young, he can become even better. Yeah, I'm from North London. They're my local club. And look, all bias aside, Arsenal are the biggest club. Yes, they're bottlers, they always get injuries and all that BS, but it happens to everyone, and yeah, Arsenal are still the biggest club. London is red, the hellish kind. Wow. Jesus Christ, that's thank you. My wildcard team, Turner, Moreno, Trent, Borro, Foden, Saka, Salah, Bowen, Alvarez, Watkins, Solanke. Good bench as well. Yeah. I mean, you should be able to maintain that 70k rank and potentially exceed that. Arnold as a captain. For any kind of questions about FPL, remember, the deadline has passed, but yes, Trent as a captain is a good shout. Not my favourite this week, but he is a good shout. Captain Bernardo Silva, what do you think? I wish you the best. Let's see how he does, but yeah, Bernardo Silva, I think he's kind of a bit of a feast or famine player. He'll blank a lot. He won't get many returns consistently, but when he does return, he's very good for the bonus points and he can do very well. No worries, question mark. I don't know, sometimes YouTube can be a bit funny or whatever different reason. Why on earth Haaland's price doesn't fall? He is 13.9 million. He might go down to 13.8 million at some stage, but yeah, you don't expect him to go down that much. He's still owned by so much of the game. Fair play then, says Bruno. I'm really happy when we signed Costa and Fabregas. Yeah, I think Fabregas, that signing kind of hurt me. He was one of my favourite players growing up. I think at 19-20, he was already up there with Gerrard and Lampard. He was on their level, if not even better, in my opinion, in those years. But it is what it is. No. Arsenal's my local club. Chelsea, I'd have to travel quite a bit to get there. I've never been near the Chelsea Stadium, thank God. Are you planning or any plans on fetching a Stupinian in the near future? Potentially, I'm open to it, but yeah, with a Stupinian, I still don't trust Brighton defensively, and the one Brighton player I'm looking at is Pascal Gross. Borro says, yeah, I'm not smoking any Borro for New Year's Eve, just saying. That means weed. But yeah, I'm starting him in my FPL team. Do a stadium tour vlog. Yeah, I've been to the Arsenal stadium quite a lot of times, but not recently. However, I will be there for a game soon. Finally, I was able to get a ticket. I support Arsenal, Freddie. What's the best Arsenal player from history? Yeah, I think Henry is the best Arsenal player in history, and also Bergkamp. I think in terms of technical ability and natural talent, I think Bergkamp is the best. But Henry, for what he's done, the records he broke, yeah, Henry is probably number one. Bergkamp's up there. Perez is very underrated, I have to say. Perez, I mean, people now, they say Sterling's better. Come on, man. How is Sterling better than Perez? Like, come on, let's be sensible. Let's talk about who's a better footballer. It's Perez. Vieira, for me, one of the best midfielders in Premier League history. Sol Campbell, solid as a rock. Tony Adams. Yeah, they're the names that really spring to mind. Ian Wright, who was before my time. But yeah, for me, Henry, Bergkamp, Vieira are probably the top three Arsenal players in history. London's purple. Sorry, mate, that's not going to work out. I'm not going to settle for that diplomatic answer. It's tribalism. It's red. Come on. Yeah, let's wait and see, Twisted Parky. A lot of different options, it seems, for the captaincy. Chelsea lineup is out, Nkunku on the bench, yeah, and apparently Sterling is on the bench too. Let's go through the lineup. We might as well, since we're still streaming. It's been, what, 2 hours and a half, has it? Damn, Jesus, time flies so quickly, honestly. It's unbelievable. So let's get the Chelsea lineup on screen. Let's see, can I actually find the tweet? Ooh. So yeah, Gusto does start. I did say he could be benched. He isn't benched. But yeah, when I was asked, I did say I think Gusto will start. But honestly, I'm looking at this team. Ugh. Petrovic, Gusto, Disasi, Thiago Silva, Colwill, Caicedo, Gallagher, Madueke, Palmer, Jackson, and Armando Broja. So on the bench, there is Bettinelli, Bergstrom, I've never heard of him before, Gilchrist, Matson, Matos, Enzo Fernandez, Sterling, Mudryk, and Nkunku. So yeah, Enzo Fernandez is suffering from a very weird injury that doesn't seem to get better. He needs to have surgery to solve that issue permanently. I hope he does, because he's a baller for Argentina. A World Cup winner, really important in the Finalissimo as well. I mean, just important player in general. I mean, to be fair, he wasn't actually an Argentina player or regular before the World Cup. And yeah, the rest is history. But that is the Chelsea lineup. Let me know your thoughts. Sterling and Nkunku are benched. Same with Mudryk too. Definitely beef with Sterling and Palmer. Maybe it goes back to City days, or he doesn't respect, jealous of him because he's young and talented. I'm not so sure. I think it's just Sterling being a bit... Maybe you're right. Maybe you know something I don't, but I just think it's just Sterling being a bit stupid in that scenario. Watkins captain is brave. Yeah, well, let's see. Hopefully fortune favours the brave. Would you rather win FPL or Arsenal win the treble? Arsenal win the treble all day long. I don't even need to think about that, mate. Same if people ask, would you rather Argentina win the World Cup or win FPL? I'd rather Argentina win the World Cup again and again and again. Yeah, winning FPL is obviously unique. It's something you can brag, but I'd rather Arsenal, Argentina, Rosario Central win trophies, which they have done. So I'm grateful for that. I'm going to a game today, and the home team includes Dennis Bergkamp's son. Oh, really? What team is this? I actually don't know what team he plays for, but let me know. You plan to go to the Arsenal-Liverpool game in the coming year? I am going to it, Singh. I am. The FA Cup one. Let's see how it goes. Sterling bench, probably because he didn't square it to Palmer versus Wolves. Yeah, that must be a big reason, and Sterling has been very wasteful. He's played well, but you just can't rely on him. Can we foreigners get a ticket at the stadium on the match day? Yes. People sell them, you know, just outside the stadium. They also do ticket exchanges on the official website, third-party websites. I think Facebook is also, you know, heavily used for tickets in general. I'm planning on an FPL league where you can only own players outside the Big Six next season. That's quite a good idea, but you'd probably need a second account, which technically isn't legal in FPL terms. Okay, Adnan, I didn't have the AFC until recently. I bought it for Christmas. I basically got it for £14. Either way, it's a mistake, you know? Yeah, it's a mistake. I don't learn my lesson, but I just have fun, you know? I have fun, you know, doing pro clubs with mates, laughing how crap the game is. But I bought it. Yeah, I did. But you'll be happy to know I'm playing good games at the same time. That's my main focus. And I'm playing Mass Effect again right now. That series is so good. What is the white for? Exactly, facts. I mean, oh, come on. Let's not be too rude, because, you know, it's got to keep it PG. Yes, I am. My family are from Argentina, so that's why. I wouldn't support them otherwise, would I? I'm not a glory hunter. Enzo not back impacts Chelsea's midfield significantly. Yeah, and look, people keep bantering Enzo because he's got like 9 wins for Chelsea or something like that, but he's been Chelsea's best player in most of those games. I genuinely think that, and most of his games have been 7 out of 10 for the Blues, but they're crap, so, you know, people just banner him. Will always be a legend for throwing a pizza at Ferguson. Fabregas, right? Yeah, He actually was at the game the other day at the Emirates with Xhaka. Dennis Bergkamp's son plays for Bromley. Oh, wow. Good luck. Hopefully you get the win and enjoy the game. Starting 11, Martinez, Konsa. For a second, I thought you were reading me out Aston Villa's league lineup. Borro, Saliba, Akanji, Disasi, Silva, Saka, Palmer, Alvarez, Watkins. Some interesting picks in there. You bench Salah. I will say why I bench Salah in my next message. Okay, fair enough, but I'm not so sure about that one, boy. Wow. When's the transfer deadline? It's past, mate. It passed 36 minutes ago, to be exact. Yeah, see you in 2024, Wei Seng. Do you play Ultimate Team? I have played it a little bit. I got the Erling Haaland, you know, that special card, the 87 one, because I did technically play FIFA like a game or two through SharePlay. Actually, yeah, I kind of downloaded it from a friend to try it out, played a few games, and as a result, I was gifted that card. I also got the Jota card, 86 rated. Look, my Ultimate Team isn't that good, but I don't really care about FUT. Yeah, I have played FUT, but to be honest with FIFA, my favourite modes are Pro Clubs, Co-op, and yeah, normal seasons is decent. I think that's probably the best online mode in terms of gameplay and, you know, the least amount of bullshit. No offense, pardon my French, sorry. And yeah, career mode, which is a bit stale, but I still have fun making Arsenal finally win something, finally win the Premier League. It's just, I need it to happen in real life now. Pep prefers starting other centre-backs like Ake, Gavadio and others over Akanji. Yeah, which is a bit strange because a few months ago, Akanji seemed to play every single minute. So if he doesn't start, Salah comes in immediately. Yeah, but Akanji getting 6 points compared to Salah, who scores or assists in virtually every game. Sorry, I think it's a mistake, in my opinion. Is FIFA good this year? No, it's trash. It's trash every year. And every single season, you know, I play FIFA and my exact words are, this game is worse than last year. How the hell do EA manage to do that? That's literally every single year. But look, I just have fun. Even sometimes the BS is just funny. You know, the goals you can see, the, you know, players not doing simple things when you know, clearly put the input. You know, it is what it is, but it's fun. It's still fun. There's obviously sometimes when it gets very frustrating to the point where you don't see the funny side, as Joker says. But yeah, it's not good. Elanga not passing to Wood was worse. But yeah, but Elanga made up for it in the end, and he did a pass in a similar situation later on in the game. All right, fair enough. I thought you just like Messi. I do like Messi, but I mainly like Messi, well, obviously because of his football, but yeah, he's from the same city that my parents are from. Sending all positive thoughts to Luton. Yes, definitely. Yeah, Twister Parker, you're one of the biggest Chelsea hairs I've ever seen. My mate's out here with even 4 accounts. Would you even consider promoting it? Well, yeah, I mean, look, I don't mind putting a link or something, but yeah, just be careful with the multiple accounts thing because, yeah. And just be careful, that's what I'm saying. I have like 30 guys interested, it will be quite fun. It sounds like it. Chelsea will destroy Luton. By the way, yeah, facts. No offense, we're saying, but would Chelsea be involved in the non-Big Six? Yeah, just joking. If you couldn't support Arsenal, oh dear, here we go, anymore, who would you support? Just Argentina and Rosario Central, my Argentinian team and that national team, and that's it. I can't bring myself to support another English club. I genuinely can't. Yeah, you might have a soft spot for a certain team or player, but I just couldn't bring myself to support another. Yeah, seasons are the best. No drawbacks to the halfway line and pirouettes every 2 seconds. Yeah. And look, I actually do pretty well in seasons. I've won it before unbeaten in previous FIFAs, but I don't think I'll play it this much this time round because on FIFA, I'm basically just going to play Pro Clubs, Career Mode, and the odd FUT match. So yeah, with seasons, I might play a little bit, but it is probably the best mode overall in terms of balanced gameplay, the least BS and scripting and momentum, all that crap you see on FIFA. Let's hope Chelsea face sanctions soon. Not just Chelsea, Man City. Come on, Man City. 115 charges, at least 30 of them. Just saying. Yeah, whoever's culpable, if they're proven guilty, they should be punished. Yeah, I see your point, but I couldn't risk a blank from Salah and see have a good chance. I don't know, man. I still think Salah is one of the most likely to return this week. I genuinely think that. With Kai back, do we look strong for a win today? It's crazy, isn't it? Because a few months ago, everyone was calling Kai crap. And look, I was frustrated with him at times. The Man United game in particular, where he was an op on that day. But I've kind of tried to back him. He's been good recently, and I hope he can continue. But yeah, look, even without Kai, Arsenal should beat Fulham, and they should have been West Ham. They didn't. But football's like that. It's not played on paper. West Ham defended well. They deserved the win, and they were clinical. They've got quality players, and now Arsenal need to bounce back. They need to go on a run. Otherwise, the title is already over. Thoughts on Bellingham? I think he was better last season in terms of overall play, but his goals is obviously impressive. What he's doing, his impact at Real Madrid in terms of goals and assists is crazy. No one denies that. I think his ceiling is absolutely insane. He's one of England's best players already. So yeah, he's a quality player, but I do think he's being a bit overhyped at the moment because of the goals he's scoring. And of course, it's natural. It happens to everyone. Look at Erling Haaland last season, Ronaldo back in the day and stuff like that. But I think there is more to football than goals. And Bellingham sometimes does cover up some average performances or below with goals, like he did against Barcelona, ghosting for 70, 80 minutes, then he scores. But of course, goals is the most difficult part of the game. He does it really well right now. And he's got a better record than Cristiano Ronaldo when he first started off at Real Madrid. We've got some great questions coming up, and this stream is never going to end because I just can't stop answering them. I thought EA making its own game would have a different result. I didn't. And I still bought it because, for several reasons, you know, someone wanted to game share it with me. And as a result, that also resulted in me getting it for £14. And also, just because a lot of people want to play Pro Clubs this year. And I'm like, you know what? Let's just do it. Let's just do it. It's not going well, though. I went on holiday to Spain and met someone from Beckenham, which is an 8-minute drive from Bromley. Small world, isn't it? Small world. That's quite, the chances of that happening are quite rare. Hope to meet you there then next season. We've still got a long time. Yeah, facts. Likewise. Do you like Newcastle? Not really. Look, back in the day, I actually liked Newcastle because of Shearer. Newcastle had some good teams as well. Look, to be honest, I don't particularly like any Premier League club besides Arsenal. It's just the way I am. I also think Newcastle-Arsenal has become a bit of a fierce rivalry over the years. You know, you had the 0-0 draw last season, even the 2-0 win for Arsenal the year before that when Newcastle beat Arsenal and ended the top four hopes. I think since that point, I don't know, there's kind of been an edge to those games. You know, the atmosphere also plays a part into it. What happened a few months ago too. But yeah, look, Newcastle, I'd prefer Newcastle over Man United, over City, over all these teams, but I don't generally like Newcastle now. I did prefer them before. Top 3 movies of all time. Mate, there's so many movies, I can't say top 3, but my favourites would include Lord of the Rings trilogy, Silence of the Lambs, Seven, Goodfellas, The Godfather. What else am I missing? Shawshank Redemption. I mean, there's so many good films. I honestly can't. Matrix. I'm going to keep going, aren't I? The Shining. Oh my god, I can't stop now. The Departed. Yeah, there's just too many films. The Dark Knight. You could probably even include the whole trilogy, especially Batman Begins. I personally like the Spider-Man films, the original ones. That's some of my favorites. Not the best of all time, but some of my favorite films. There's too many. There's honestly too many. I'm forgetting some right now. I even like older films, like we're talking really old. It's just the way it is. American Psycho. Yeah, there's too many. I can't condense it to 3. What's your favorite team in the Argentinian league? Rosario Central, who just won the Copa de la Liga. They beat Platense in the final. They beat River Plate on course to winning it. Yeah, Estudiantes I don't really mind, to be fair. I just dislike Boca, River Plate, Newell's Old Boys, of course, for obvious reasons. I don't really mind Estudiantes. Left C out on purpose. Yeah, fair enough. I think they might be in their own stratosphere in terms of that. You guys really dislike Chelsea. Fair enough. Good luck. I hope you enjoy the game today. I mean, look, a Palmer return, I wouldn't mind it too much either. And look, to be honest, I don't actively want Chelsea to lose every game because I don't really care, to be fair. But yeah, it is what it is. It's a rivalry. Yeah, I'm stressed what I did, but now I can't change it, can I? No, you can't. I'm just saying, I don't bench Salah in any game week unless he's blanking or he's unavailable like he is from Game Week 21 onwards. West Ham's first goal should never have stood. I agree, it should never have stood, but yeah, the Premier League decided not to have all this automated technology, and as a result, we're going to have more of these issues. But I'd scrap VAR, and I'd put in automated technology in all areas of the pitch, have more camera angles, whatever's needed, but yeah, VAR is useless in my opinion. I saw some stats in Arsenal-West Ham. Arsenal had good attacking numbers. Arsenal were poor in the final third because they had 5 big chances, an XG of almost 3, 30 shots, and 0 goals. You know, you have to put it in the back of the net. West Ham defended well. You have to say that. They conceded a lot of chances. They were a bit lucky in terms of Arsenal not finishing their dinner. But you sometimes need that luck, and you can't really begrudge them for it. So, yeah, I'd say it's more Arsenal being poor and lacking that quality in the final third in terms of decision-making, which I've been complaining about since the Aston Villa game. And you could even argue now from the Newcastle game, where they created virtually nothing in that game as well. Which former Chelsea player do you wish Arsenal never bought? Willian. And we didn't even buy him. We signed him for free, and that felt like a robbery. David Luiz is overhated. I'm not going to lie. Yes, he had some stinkers against Liverpool and Man City, but he also had masterclasses against Man City in the FA Cup semi-final. He was very important in winning that FA Cup. So I actually have a bit of respect for David Luiz. I think on his day he was brilliant. He was a very good mentor for the younger players like Saka, and he's very gifted technically. So I do like his personality, and I think he was a bit overhated at Arsenal. Yes, he had stinkers, but you know, you're playing alongside Socrates, Mustafi, Bellerin, and all these terrible defenders. It kind of rubs off on you. I think Luiz was the best of a bad bunch. He also got targeted a bit by referees. I really have to say that. He got sent off against Chelsea, and I thought, what? How is he getting, you know, sent off and also conceding a penalty? Double jeopardy? Is that not a rule? Against Wolves, one of the most BS red cards I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, I think Luiz was a bit overhated by everyone, the media, the referees, and also the fans. But that's just my opinion. What have I missed? You've missed the deadline, maybe. But yeah, I don't know. Right now we're talking about a few different things, I guess. Yeah, I captained Watkins at the very end. That's maybe one thing that was a bit surprising. C in Chelsea stands for crap. Oh dear, yeah, we're getting a lot of Chelsea here. Okay, should I encourage you to stop? Nah, keep going, keep going. Nah, yeah, we can leave it off Chelsea for a bit. They're struggling, so, you know, don't kick them while they're down. Training day, says Eric G. Tobogus says Enzo, Bellingham, Musiala, Pedri, rank them. My favourite of the lot would be Musiala. I think he's world-class. One of the best dribblers already in the world. Just a joy to watch. I'd rather watch Musiala than Bellingham, let me put it that way. In terms of overall player, though, I'd rank it Bellingham first, Musiala second, Pedri third, and Enzo fourth. But there's only one World Cup winner in that list. Just saying. I didn't mind Arsenal until Arteta came in. Well, yeah, but look, you have to think about it this way. Arteta isn't just complaining because of the Newcastle game. It's multiple years of bad decisions and bad decisions. So, yes, you might say he's whingy and stuff, but what about Klopp? Pep Guardiola's done the same thing. Ange Postecoglou, even in recent press conferences. But look, I can understand why a Newcastle fan wouldn't like Arteta. But at the same time, it isn't just a Newcastle thing. Arteta didn't just say, oh, we got robbed against Newcastle. It's a multiple years thing, and it's been building up. Nope. I'd rather be homeless. I'm not doing that. A bit easier is Christmas films, Die Hard 1, 2, 3, 4, Elf. But then again, I haven't watched Die Hard films in a long time. Who do you think is getting sacked soon? Difficult one. But Ten Hag and Pochettino aren't too far off, I'd say. I'm trying to think about... I'd say Vincent Kompany is a few hammerings away from a sacking as well. I'd say Kompany is probably my tip. Did you ever go to Brazil to watch a game against Argentina? No. And yeah, Brazil was not happy hunting ground for any South American team. Brazil were unbeaten in qualifiers in history until Argentina beat them a few months ago. And also, I don't think Brazil ever lost the Copa America game. Or they've only lost 2 in their history, 1 to Peru and 1 to Argentina in the final. So yeah, no, I've never been to Brazil, period, let alone for a football match. Dylan feeling sorry for Chelsea? I'm not really, I'll be honest, I'm not feeling sorry for them, but I'm just being fair, because yeah, if it was Arsenal, I'd ask for a bit of sympathy. Venom spitting venom, yeah. Captain Watkins, yeah, let's see. I just want to hate him, don't I? Take the ENA away from Chelsea and add in HT at the end because it describes them personally. Oh, Jesus Christ. Oh, HIT. Let's calm down. Musiala, Bellingham, Pedri, Enzo. Yeah, look, Musiala ahead of Bellingham. I'm not against that. I think Musiala's a baller. I really do. Would you follow African or Asian Cup? Maybe. Not the group stages, though, I think, because there's going to be a lot of like weaker teams in it and not really interested. And to be honest, I don't watch any... I watch a bit of Euros, of course, and Copa America because I support Argentina. But yeah, apart from that, it's just the World Cup for me. I don't watch Nations League, for example. That's useless. I got baited on Wednesday with something that said Haaland Stein versus Everton. Yeah, be very careful about the sources. I always say this. Be very careful. I don't have a second favourite Premier League team, Sing. I might prefer one team over the other. For example, I dislike Liverpool less than I dislike United, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't go for that. Definitely agree about David Luiz. Nice to hear an Arsenal fan state the facts by him. Yeah, it's just, I think it's a bit overhated. Like, yes, he had 2 out of 10 performances. Yes, he did, but he also had 9 or 10 out of 10 performances from time to time. He was solid in the final against Chelsea. He was incredible against Man City in the semi-final. One of the best defensive performances I've seen from a defender in the last couple of years. We're talking about facing Man City as well. Musiala is better than Bellingham. Yeah, I'm on board with that. I wouldn't mind changing that ranking. Most people will disagree with you. Yeah, look, a lot of managers are whingers and sore losers. I'm a sore loser. I'm not going to deny that as well. But yeah, I do think the hate for Arteta is a bit overblown. I'm not going to lie. In general, I'm not saying you. I'm talking about the media and, kind of people's perceptions of him. Ever since Newcastle, they flopped so hard, it's hard to watch. It's fun to watch. I mean, look, we've got some Newcastle fans in the chat as well. Let's keep it civil for the end of the year. But yeah, look, I'm not going to lie, I did enjoy it a little bit as well, but in the grand scheme of things, Newcastle aren't a rival of Arsenal and vice versa, but I think it will become one over the next few years. Facts, Musiala is underrated, but you can't put him ahead of Bellingham, especially with his form. Yeah, but he did get an injury recently, to be fair. I do think Musiala will become a better player than Bellingham, but it all depends on injuries. My family are from Morocco, so I hope they can do something. Yeah, actually, I've gotten to know some Moroccans recently. Yeah, and Morocco have been the best African team for the last year or so. Before that, it was probably Algeria. Yeah, it's difficult to predict the African Cup of Nations. I think it's quite spread out in terms of winners. Celtic versus Rangers is going to be clear of Luton versus Chelsea. Come on, the hoops. It's at Celtic, right? Celtic are at home. If so, should win. Malaysia versus Korea in the Asian Cup. Can't wait to be cooked by them. Not sure about that. I just can't, stomach any cookings for my own team. AFCON is kind of boring, but like African football vibes, it's different from Europe. Yeah, and I'm guessing a lot of games are tight. It's similar to the Argentinian league, where a lot of games are 1-0, 1-1, maybe 2-1. A lot of games are, tight, a lot of fouls, physical, not a lot of play. Rank top 6 based on your preference to support. Well, Arsenal would be top, of course. Second would probably be Liverpool. Third, Man City. Fourth would be Chelsea. Fifth would be Man United, and sixth Tottenham. But I'll be honest, back in the day, I hated Man United just as much as Spurs. And that kind of changes. I think Man United fans, not all of them, but some are extremely arrogant, even now when they're not so good. But it is what it is. With Spurs, it's just a local rivalry. If it wasn't for that, I really wouldn't care about them at all, to be honest. But yeah, that's probably my order. The only thing with MTM that Chelsea achieved is the mid-table mandems. Oh my god, what is this Chelsea cooking tonight? They're probably going to win now. They probably will. You know how the game is played. We'll have the last laugh. Yeah, no, I mean, Newcastle, it's an upward trajectory in general. Of course, let's wait and see if FFP are strict on you. They have been in the last year or so. Why didn't they do this to Chelsea and Man City? I mean, who knows? Why are Premier League refs horrible? To be honest, referees are horrible everywhere. If I watch a World Cup game, Copa America, World Cup qualifier, Argentinian League, whatever I watch, the referees are terrible. But yes, the Premier League referees in particular are just detestable people, you could argue. I mean, hate towards Arteta is based on the fact that he was not punished for his comments while others would have been. To be fair, it did go to an independent panel. The FA wanted to charge him and the PGMOL, but it went to an independent panel. It was appealed, and the independent one just found nothing wrong in his statements. I mean, he called them a disgrace. He was right. I mean, what can I say? In one goal, you have 4 incidents, which kind of point towards it being disallowed, and it wasn't. Willock himself said it was, out. The ball was out, and look, it's happened. I'm already over that loss. Arsenal also went on to lose to Aston Villa and West Ham, and I was actually more frustrated by those losses because of Arsenal themselves, the chances they missed. Against Newcastle, Arsenal didn't really create anything, but then in that same game, you had Bruno Guimaraes doing that stupid elbow to the head, no red card. You could argue Havertz should have been sent off, but I honestly don't think the red card offence was anywhere near as bad as what Bruno did. and got away with. But for me, the referees probably robbed Arsenal of a point, not of a win. If they had sent off Bruno Guimaraes, yes, the game changes, 11v10, whatever you want to argue, but Newcastle fans will also argue the other way around as well. My kind of gripe anyway with Arsenal in general is their finishing anyway. With Arteta, I don't really think that constitutes towards the hate though, with what you're saying, because I've seen hate for Arteta even before that. People call him a crybaby, a sore loser, a whinger and stuff like that. But if you actually look at most of his press conferences, he gives credit to the opposition, like against West Ham the other day, and he says what Arsenal should have done better. Yes, he's a sore loser, but so's Klopp, so's Pep Guardiola, so's everybody. Is Hakimi top 3 right back in the world? I'll be honest, I don't really think so. I think he's really good offensively, but very, very suspect at the back. And yeah, look, to be honest with fullbacks, I mean, there's been a drop-off. You used to have Philip Lahm, Zanetti, Dani Alves, and now the best right-back is what, Trent? I mean, that is a big drop-off in my opinion. Do I start Palmer or Hwang for my Norwegian fantasy? I'd probably go for Palmer, but it is a close call. True, the stats are objective while opinions are subjective. I love Musiala more than Bellingham. There is just this joy. Exactly. I prefer Musiala as a player. I think he will become better, but yeah, Bellingham is more effective. As somebody who is almost fully Moroccan, I really hope we do well this AFCON. It would make my day. Well, I wish you the best. I am backing you to do quite well, but it all depends. I'm not sure what your situation is, how you're doing since the World Cup. Chelsea over Man United in your preference is surprising. Well, yeah, Man United, Arsenal was the biggest rivalry in the early 2000s, and I think that plays a big part. Yeah, and with Chelsea, I mean, a bit similar, you could say, to Spurs. You know, it's the local rivalry that adds to the, you know, that factor, that hatred. But if it wasn't for let's go back to my team now, by the way. If it wasn't for yeah, the oil money, I just think Chelsea would be irrelevant and I wouldn't care about them, to be honest. Arsenal fans, some of them blame VAR for every loss. That recent match, they're saying the ball was out. No, that's true. And to be honest, look, I think the ball was out, but I don't blame that for the loss because Arsenal still had 80 plus minutes, including extra time, to score a goal, and they didn't. So for that loss, I blame Arsenal more. Same with Aston Villa, where there were some, like, for example, I think the goal should have stood, but at the same time, Arsenal had so many chances which they, you know, squandered. So yeah, I can understand why some people have that opinion of Arsenal fans, but I also think it's a question of over years and years, so many stupid decisions that have cost Arsenal titles sometimes, that have cost Arsenal big games. I think all that kind of anger has built up and it has led to Arsenal fans just kind of losing it at any big refereeing decision and howler. It's happened too often. Arsenal, City, Spurs, Villa, Liverpool, Man United. So you didn't include Chelsea. Jesus, this Chelsea cooking is mad. You wouldn't think that this Chelsea team is 1 billion valued. Exactly, that is true. Carlton Morris got dropped for the game against Chelsea. He hasn't played in the last couple of games, though. It's been a while now. Havertz should have been sent off too. Yeah, I can see why, but I think Bruno's was worse. But then again, a red's a red. You know, I personally, maybe I'm being biased. I didn't think Havertz was a red, but maybe I'm being biased, and I do hold my hands up there, and I haven't seen it in a long time. You are very underrated. Can't wait for 100k subs. I appreciate it. That's going to be a big push. A lot of content needs to be done and a lot of pushing, but that'd be amazing if we could achieve that one day. AFCON fantasy, Asian Cup fantasy. I don't think I'll play either. I've already got, you know, FPL and UCL fantasy have already occupied all my attention, and then I've got F1 fantasy in a few months' time. Nobody who supports the Big Six really likes Man United. That's the thing. Well, look, Man United are arguably the biggest club in England and one of the biggest in the world. That also plays a part. And they also ruined a lot of childhoods, especially for Newcastle fans and stuff, maybe some Arsenal fans, so it is what it is. I did AFCON fantasy last time, says Twisted Parky. How was it? That'll be my my question. Worst VAR blunder this season? I'd say Onana versus Wolves springs to mind. I mean, that's a clear, blatant penalty. There's so many, though. That's the thing. I'd say the Newcastle goal against Arsenal because there's like 4 points of contention for the goal. That's just my personal opinion. There's probably way more. Yeah, no, there's more. There's too many to list, to be honest. I think a lot of fans have a soft spot for Newcastle. Yeah, I think that was more true a few years ago. I think now that you've got rich owners, you're, you know, rising up the table and becoming a threat, that will change. People will start to dislike you, especially, you know, with the way you play sometimes. I think you have some dirty players. That also factors in. I think Newcastle remind me a bit of Atletico Madrid. I would say that DS goal, yeah, oh yeah, that's the number one. Yeah, I forgot about that. DS against Tottenham, that's obviously number one. I'd say Onana versus Wolves is probably second. Yeah, you've answered it for me. No, I don't. I don't listen to that. Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that. I forgot about it. It happened so long ago that I completely forgot. Yeah, it's up there in history, in Premier League history. You'd be surprised, though, if you actually look through all the incidents, the worst ones, and the compilations, you might find something just as bad. Luton is a hard place to visit. Don't be fooled, lads. Yeah, but Palmer can still do something. I did no transfer dawn. He went jumping in, studs up. Maybe I'm biased. Yeah, I think it's because he hit the player with the trailing leg, if I'm not mistaken, and he didn't make contact. Or yeah, I honestly don't remember the incident fully, but I do believe there is at least an explanation as to why the red wasn't given. With Bruno Guimaraes, there simply isn't. But look, either way, Newcastle won. I think a draw would have been a fair result. The goal should have been disallowed, but it happened. I've moved on. I'm more pissed off about West Ham and Aston Villa. I only know Taremi, Hwang Hee-chan, and Son in the Asian Cup in the top of my head at least. Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of players now. Karma against West Ham on the goal was a clear penalty on Odegaard versus the best team in the Premier League. Well, I mean, I have to disagree there. Yeah, Liverpool have only lost one game this season, but I also think some of your wins have been quite lucky. I do think Man City will finish above Liverpool, to be quite honest with you. And if Arsenal get their act together, who knows? Ask lots of Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, City fans, Liverpool fans, and Spurs fans. A lot of them would rank United dead last or near dead last. Yeah, look, I mean, they're also kind of joint last with Spurs, you know, if I could do that. Yeah, but that also, there's a few reasons for that. Just joined the FPL League, can't wait to see how high you place. Yeah, Max, and actually you just reminded me, if we go to the FPL League, do I not have it? Let's go here. Yes, here we go. This is the FPL League. So yeah, let me just get the message off screen, just so it doesn't cover the names. So yeah, this is the top 12 at the moment, and we've got some really high scores. I mean, yeah, 1,208. Could you maybe share some points with me? That'd be great. But yeah, some fantastic scores in there. Good luck to everyone in the Dylan RCM League. There is a link in the description below. There's a league code. You can also see it on the graphic on the left-hand side of your screen. I was really surprised that Odegaard pen was not given either. Yeah, I think that was a pen. I don't think it was as big of a howler as the DS one or other incidents, but yeah, I would have given the pen, to be fair. 0-0 would have been fair, to be honest. We created nothing. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. The only thing you could say, and of course, Havertz could have been sent off, and so should have Bruno Guimaraes. You know, those red cards would have changed the game and maybe resulted in one team having a clear advantage. But yeah, I think 0-0 was the not perfect result. It was the fair result for the game, but it is what it is. But a decision not talked about enough for being disgraceful is Bailey's disallowed goal. Yes, I mean, this is the thing though. When a goalkeeper is pulled or there's contact made, like Alisson against Man City, the referee is always kind of, because goalkeepers are really protected from that kind of point of view and that rule. I think that should change. I wildcarded, then lost my phone before the deadline, found it 15 minutes after the deadline. Palmer fed on my bench with Estupiñán and Pau. Yeah, I mean, with Pau, though, he isn't fully fit, so he might not start. Estupiñán, I don't think a clean sheet will happen against West Ham, but Palmer could be a problem. It could be. I'm number 24. Can't wait to break into the top 10 soon. Good luck, Ahmed, and everyone else in the Dylan RCM League. We have got 233 likes, so be sure to drop a like and get this stream to 250 on your way out. It'd be massively appreciated. Just to recap, this is my final team. And I'm just going to end the poll now, by the way, but appreciate those that voted. Almost 700 votes there. Is Palmer a good captain? I think he's fairly decent, but I think there are much better options elsewhere. Let's see how it all pans out in the end. My final team is Ariel in goal, Saliba, Pedro Porro, Trent, a midfield five of Saka, Salah, Bowen, Palmer and Son, Watkins and Solanke up front. Dubravka, Cash, Archer, Lascelles is on my bench. I made a last-minute switch, or last 2-3 minute switch, to Ollie Watkins for the captaincy. Salah's my vice. Let's see if the birthday boy, Ollie Watkins, can finally score, do well, and we can put all our bad FPL history aside and move on into 2024. Thank you very much for tuning in to the last deadline stream of the year. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe if you're new. It'd be very much appreciated. We're on the road to 23k in terms of subscribers, and that will be the aim for 2024. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM. We're also looking for new goals in those platforms, 2,000 followers on Instagram and also on Twitter, 3,000 followers, and also the Discord server where we have over 500 members there, and there are so many different channels, and it will keep you updated to everything you need to know in terms of FPL and UCL fantasy. As I also, why am I Sean Connery? As I also mentioned, be sure to subscribe to my friend AGDC, who is 12 subscribers away from 500. A very underrated channel, great content. Be sure to check out the link that I'm putting there in the live chat. It'd be greatly appreciated. Yeah, goalkeepers are treated like little girls with the officials. It's annoying. I agree. Ariola's more immune to clean sheets than Fuller. Yeah, from Home Alone after drinking something. Trust me, yeah, Areola, just don't expect clean sheets coming up. Now I'm hoping for a 0-0 this game. Started Gusto Palmer, mistakenly third on my bench. I'm hoping for like a 3-2 Luton or something like that, or 3-1, and Palmer gets the goal. By the way, I loved your rant about Areola in the last video. Yeah, honestly, I think what added to the pain is the fact that he got a clean sheet against Arsenal, and Arsenal had 30 shots, 5 big chances, an XG of 3, and yet every damn shot was straight at him. It's like they wanted him to get 10 points. Thank you to Stapaki. I wish you the best. Bye as well, Venom. This Morris thing is weird. Bro came in, got 2 assists technically, and still isn't getting his place back. Yeah, I'm not so sure what's up there, but Morris was integral to Luton Town's promotion. But maybe, yeah, something's going on, as you say, or Adebayo's doing something well in training. Thanks for the fun in 2023. See you in 2024. Likewise, Ahmed. I wish you the best. Thank you to VZAV. Made this. I appreciate the subscription. Mickey says, have a good weekend, Dylan. Thank you for all your help and advice this year. Likewise to you and everyone else watching. Thank you, Sahil. See you in 2024. Have a happy new year. I wish you all the best of luck for Gameweek 20 and also the rest of the year. I wish you a happy new year for 2024. All the best for you and your families, and also in FPL and whatever you end up doing with your projects. I hope you do really well, and I'll see you very soon for more streams, FPL content, UCL fantasy content. There's so much headed your way. I'll see you very soon, and we're going to reach even more goals in the future.